Big Bird Eagle signing with MVP. He will be coming on to discuss all about it. We have Gannon signing with Discmania. We have a little bit of player movement, a little bit of what the heck is going on with some players. We'll try to speculate where we think they will end up. We have a great wild story of the week to tell you guys. The Disc Golf Pro Tour, they just decided to announce a bunch of very interesting things. So we'll go through that, see how we feel about it. We've got your guys' listener questions as always. And then a little bit of tour life, a little tour. I'm on the wrong side. There it is. A little tour life merch to talk about too at the very, very end of the show. But before we get into it, Yuli, how's it going, brother?
It's good, man. How about yourself? Good week?
I was trying to, did I talk about the snowstorm driving? When was that? Was that
I wasn't on this.
I haven't talked about that.
I don't think so.
I get confused sometimes with what I've talked about. All right, so let me tell you this story real quick.
Yeah, we know.
We're driving from Vegas to Dallas. We wake up at 3 a.m. in the morning. It's a 17-hour drive. We have 3 corgis and a cat. So it's not when I did the Dallas to Vegas drive, I stopped 3 times for gas, each about 10 minutes or so. So I got there in like 17 hours and 45 minutes. With the dogs, we have to stop. We have to, run them around a little bit. They have to use the restroom. So I was playing about 20 hours drive. So we'd be getting in kind of late, but it is doable to do all in one day, right? We start driving and it's bad. This snowstorm is absolutely miserable. It's really, really bad. We get to a point where Kelsey's like, hey, the maps is telling me we need to redirect. Like there's like a crash or something, which makes sense because when we're driving through Arizona, Yuli,
I know this. I know where it takes you.
It doesn't snow. It doesn't snow that often in Arizona. And so people don't know how to drive. So I'm like, yeah, let's get off. Let's do this. I'm looking on the map and in my head, I'm not thinking that I'm doing a 17-hour drive and that this little segment is actually a lot bigger than what it on the map. So I'm thinking, oh yeah, let's just do this little 10 mile, 5 mile detour and we'll get right back on the highway and we're fine. Yuli, we go on these back roads
yeah, I know where you went.
They've not been treated, not been plowed, not do anything. It's so windy and it's snowing so hard. Our vision is like 5 feet. So we've got our hazards on. We're driving right in the middle of the road, going 30 miles an hour. That was the fastest that it's a 60 mile an hour speed limit. We're going 30. That's the fastest we felt comfortable for. We were on these back roads for 3.5 hours. we went 90, 85 miles in 3.5 hours. Like just.
Did it take you down like this windy little cliff area too?
We couldn't see anything, Yuli.
Yeah. You're lucky you couldn't see.
We couldn't see anything.
I know where it took you.
So obviously when we got back on the highway, I told her, I was like, babe, listen, we're not making it in one day. Like I've got my Mountain Dew trick up my sleeve, but that gets me like an extra 2 hours, 3 hours. We're not making it in one day. And so we ended up stopping, stayed the night, woke up the next morning and comfortably did it. But that was pretty much my big story of this past week is just the crazy drive that we had into Dallas through a snowstorm.
Dude, picture this. So Vegas we went from Michigan to Arizona for the Memorial way back when I first signed with Discraft. They gave us that RV and it was Brian and myself. I'd never driven an RV before. Neither had Brian. On the trip, Brian crashed the RV one time. We went through a toll. I say crash. I'm sleeping in the back. We're going through this toll booth, I guess, and he just rips the side of it through the toll booth. I get up. I'm like, oh my gosh, what the heck was that? Go out there. He's just white knuckling it. Me and Bob look at each other. We're like, hey, Brian, like, what was that? And he's like, yeah, I might have clipped the toll booth. We're like, what? He's like, yeah, all part of the process. Me and Bob look at each other. We're like, no, crashing the RV is not part of the process. That was the beginning of our trip. We run into the craziest snowstorm. It takes us this exact same way in the RV. Same story, 30 miles an hour less. I'm going 15. There's cliffs on both sides. The RV is sliding towards the cliffs down this thing. It took us forever. It was the scariest thing I've ever done in my life. My first time driving an RV.
Did you put like the chains on the RV wheels? I've seen people do that.
No, there was none of that. No, we didn't know we were going into this crazy snowstorm. It was Arizona. It took us so long. And after that, I felt like I was a professional RV driver. Nothing fazed me after that, you know? My first ever time was cliff, a foot of snow in the middle of the road. We didn't see another car. It was bonkers, but I totally get what you went through, man. It's scary.
It's super dicey. Kelsey almost got taken out by a semi because because you would see the cars in front of you start sliding, and so you're like, I need to get over to where it's like, little in the middle of the road's a little bit safer. And so she would like start peeling over the middle of the road, and I guess in this two lanes going in the same direction, this one semi was just cruising. And so as Kelsey peeled over, that semi was like, I can't stop. Like I gotta go. And I was about to slam my horn to kind of like start, like, get her attention and be like, hey, stop. But I was like, maybe she'll freak out and go the wrong way. So she has held it in this. I mean, this thing missed her by a foot and a half going like 45 miles an hour. So it is super, super dicey, but we made it here all safely. The boys are loving life. Our cat loves it back here. She has her cat tower that she messes around with. So
do you like Dallas more than Vegas?
Yes.
Yes, you do. So you're happy to be back in Dallas. That's good.
We have a very nice house here that we just bought before I went on tour. And I didn't really get that much time in to spend it in here. And so coming back during the off season and like not being able to hang out here, it wasn't ideal. So, I mean, it got to the point where Kelsey was like, hey, I thought I had to be here all the way up through Pro Bowl, but I actually can fly back for Pro Bowl. So she's like, let's get out of here ASAP. So I think it was 2 days after her final practice, her final thing that she needed to do with the Raiderettes, we just bounced.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So, all right. Before we jump into any of the big announcements and stories that went down in disc golf, we do have an ad. So we will play that video now. Thank you to our sponsors. We'll jump right back into the podcast with your happiness and preventing you from achieving goals. Or if you're just a human who lives in the world going through a hard time, therapy can be a very different way. It also just make therapy more affordable, more accessible. And this is really hard, especially when you live in the area. There's a lot of therapy because it's online, it's remote, and filling out a few questions, but match you to a professional therapist in a few days. It's easy to sign up with a therapist. There's a link. We'll jump right back into the podcast, but before I do want to talk to you guys about today's sponsor. Is something interfering with your happiness or preventing you from achieving your goals? Regardless if you have a clinical mental health issue like depression or anxiety, or if you're just a human who lives in this world who is going through a hard time, therapy can give you the tools to approach your life in a very different way. And that's why I'm excited to tell you about today's sponsor, BetterHelp. BetterHelp's mission is to make therapy more affordable and more accessible. And this is an important mission because finding a therapist can be really hard, especially when you're limited to the options in your area. BetterHelp is a platform that makes finding a therapist easier because it's online, it's remote, and by filling out a few questions, BetterHelp can match you to a professional therapist in as little as a few days. It's easy to sign up and get matched up with a therapist. There's a link in the description down below. All you have to do is do betterhelp.com/foundation. And by clicking that link today, you can get 10% off your first month on BetterHelp. So you can connect with a therapist and see if it helps you. And because finding a therapist is a little like dating, if you don't really fit with a therapist, which is a common thing in therapy, you can easily switch to a new therapist at no additional cost without stressing about insurance, who's in your network, or anything like that. So if you're struggling, consider online therapy with BetterHelp. Click the link in the description or visit betterhelp.com/foundation. That is betterhelp.com/foundation. And again, thank you so much to our sponsor today, BetterHelp. All right, Silas, trying to get that ad read out to you guys real quick.
Yeah, you guys weren't expecting that extra story I threw in there, I think.
we got Eagle coming on in 15 minutes, Silas. You don't need to rush it, brother. We got time, dude. We got time. Like 2x speed. They were saying in the chat, auctioneer. That was my auctioneer voice.
Oh, I like that.
Which would be cool. All right, let's I do want to talk a little bit about Eagles deal before he comes on. Mainly because there was a little bit of an interaction that was had on Twitter that I would love to kind of get your ideas behind. But first, what did you end up watching, or have you had the chance to watch the announcement video?
I did, yeah.
What did you think about that?
I thought it was good. I thought it was fun. Yeah.
What did you think about the way that MVP kind of, again, I think it's different in where I'm sitting because I had pretty good sources tell me that he was going to MVP.
Yeah. Same.
So this idea of like, oh, I don't know where he's going, but if you were on the fence, there was a lot of people that thought he might go to Innova. So this idea that MVP was posting these photos and kind of leading people down the wrong path to then just kind of switch it at the last minute with the Simon reveal to the Pixel to Eagle. What would you think about that whole marketing and plan?
I liked it. I think that it, they're big. Well, the way I look at it is it looks like they're, bringing the Crush boys back together. And I think that's what they wanted to do. And I think they did a good job in that video. Yeah.
I thought it was really well executed. It definitely showed, what I think some of these companies can do when they actually sit down and come up with a plan. Like, obviously they had that planned out far in advance with all their individual posts leading up to it. So I thought it was really, really good. Let's jump into this interaction real quick with me and Ricky on social media. So one of the most reliable sources in disc golf news is Reddit comments, right? That's where you're going to get the good
leaks
stuff.
Yeah.
So I had Riley GN tweet me this. He said, "Can't make this stuff up. Ricky's Caddie leaking player movement." So this is I don't even know what post this was on, but some sort of Reddit post. And they're talking kind of about like Gannon Buhr, Eagle, they're talking about the situation with them leaving. And this guy says 3 points. He says, first, Eagle is 25. He hasn't even hit his athletic prime. Second, Eagle sells far more discs than Gannon due to having a way larger following. And then third, he says, Discmania would have 100% preferred to keep Eagle, as Eagle would have made them a lot more money. But MVP is giving him an offer that Discmania cannot match. Same exact thing that happened with Simon. And yes, Eagle is signing with MVP. Ricky's Caddie let me know yesterday that it's a done deal. So I obviously tweeted out, once I got that, I obviously tweeted out with, Ricky and me have gone to go back and forth a little bit because the whole TMZ stuff with the Bogey Bros and Hunter saying his contract before Dynamic Disc and him announcing it. So we've gone back and forth a little bit. And Ricky obviously is super anti, don't leak anything, don't spread anything. So I thought it was comical that this person sent me this, and it was Ricky's cat, and the person he's saying is Ricky's Caddie is the one leaking it. So I tweeted out saying, I hope this isn't true, Ricky. I thought you were against leaking contracts. Now, knowing Twitter and what Twitter's at, a bunch of people I think took that to be an aggressive tweet when in fact it was more of a sarcastic tweet. And I thought it was kind of funny. So Ricky sets us all straight and says, as I've always said, anytime you hear from my camp, I won't be leaking deals. Tune into Eagles channel if you want to find out where he's going. He's the one that deserves the hype during this time, not me. And then also someone found Ricky's Caddie in a MVP Facebook group, I think. And I basically said, his Caddie said, let me, LOL, it won't let me comment, but It's the first time I feel kind of important that people think I'm special enough to know that kind of information. Last person we are worried about is Eagle and what he is doing. We focus on some majors and elite series, but hey, man, speculate away. So there was back and forth. There was a lot of people coming after me. There was people coming after Ricky, and obviously people are on different sides of the fence. The one thing that I thought was, again, it's a funny post, but the one thing that I thought was very interesting is if you were just going to make something up, why make up Ricky's caddy? Like, why is that the person you go to? That just seems.
What do you mean make up? I lost you for a sec.
Okay, so Ricky and his caddy are claiming that whoever posted this Reddit comment saying that they know for a fact Eagles signing with MVP because Ricky's caddy told him personally that he's signing with MVP. Ricky and Ricky's caddy are saying that's not true.
Oh, okay.
They're claiming that that's not true. So for me, it's just it's a weird person. If you're making something up, it's just a weird person to make up. Like, this isn't some random Reddit thread, right?
Yeah.
It's like this person's not trying to. So that's the only thing is it seems a little bit weird to me. And so I tweeted this out, and I want to have your take on this. I said, I can't imagine what would happen if disc golf got bigger and brought more journalists, more YouTube channels trying to get eyeballs. I poke fun every now and again on here, and people flip out. I should have said some people flip out. Not everyone flips out. I question if those people have any clue what's going on in other sports. And what I mean by that, let me again, because some people take that and say, well, you played ultimate frisbee. That's not a real sport. What I mean by that is if you follow other sports, if you follow the NFL, if you follow the NBA, if you follow other big sports, there are thousands of articles every week written about players, coaches, GMs, owners. There is so much stuff. There's message boards. I mean, if you think like disc golf has a crazy message board with Reddit, like there are multiple NFL teams that have message boards that are twice as big as that. So what I mean by that is as the sport grows, and if it does grow, there are going to be multiple people, and we've seen it already on YouTube. There are multiple people creating content now on YouTube that weren't creating content 2 years ago, 3 years ago, 5 years ago. And so this idea that stuff is just going to always stay under the radar, that to me just sounds crazy.
I think you're right. I think, first of all, I think what it comes down to when things like this and leaking information or what have you, it comes down to reliable sources. Reliable. You look at like you said, the NFL, NBA, they make sure they put that a reliable source. Not just a source, because things leak all the time. The time. When I'm talking to my buddies and I'm speculating about what's going on, I don't really know because I'm not involved at the very top, but I have my sources. Some of them are reliable, and sometimes it's just me talking to somebody and being like, hey, this is where I think. Now, if I come out and say, hey, this is where he's going.
That's different. Yeah.
That's different because that's a reliable source. I'm a reliable source in the industry. If Brad Hammock, my caddy, comes out and says, I think that this is where he's going, pretty reliable source. It's not coming from me. It's not as reliable, but it's a pretty reliable source. You know what I'm saying? So what you have to, I guess the question is Fern a reliable source in this thing? Maybe, but is the guy who's saying, hey, this guy told me, is that guy reliable? No.
But
so it doesn't matter.
But it goes back to my point. It's a very odd person to just throw out if he's lying. If that guy straight up is lying and Ricky's caddy never told him that Eagle's going to MVP, that's just a very weird person to make a lot.
But what I'm saying in what you're saying, it doesn't matter because that's not a reliable source, whether he's telling the truth or whether he's not. That's the way I look at it.
I agree. Like that person coming out and saying that, not everyone is going to jump on and say Eagle's going to MVP
And-
versus if
yeah.
someone from MVP came out or Eagle
Yeah.
himself came out. Yes,
Yeah.
I know what you're saying.
Yeah, and so like when something, there's going to be hundreds of people saying, "Oh yeah, this person told me," or "This person told me," and he talked to this guy, and that guy's completely telling the truth. It doesn't matter, because whether he's telling the truth, whether he's not, there's going to be 50-50 people being like, I don't believe him," or "Ooh, yeah, well, I heard." You get what I'm saying? So
yeah. The reason I just said soft, some people in disc golf are soft, is because like, just, you got to get used to this, right? Like right now at our press conferences, we have the Disc Golf Pro Tour, a person from the Disc Golf Pro Tour asking questions. They normally are asking like very cookie cutter questions. How does your game feel? What do you think about the changes of the course? Do you like your chances of winning here? It's very cookie cutter questions.
And it's the same people every single time.
It's the same people. Yes. What is going to happen if all of a sudden 3 or 4 journalists or people that started their own blogs or whatever, they're now there and they're trying to get clicks, or they're trying to get a soundbite, or they're trying to ask a really tough question? Like, what happens when that starts? And I get it. People are going to be like, well, I don't want that in my sport. And it's like, at the end of the day, you can't really
matter.
You can't really control that much. It's
That's
like,
just what happens in sports.
As things get bigger and bigger, these things will happen. And this notion of like, I want to keep the sport the way it is. And I'm going to talk to Eagle about this, because Eagle actually has an interesting take. Someone sent me a video of him talking about this in one of his interviews that he did earlier. And it's like, I always think those people, whenever, and I heard this in Ultimate, and I don't hear it as much in disc golf, which gives me hope. But in Ultimate, I would hear people all the same time like, yeah, I want the sport to grow, but I want it to grow with the right people.
Yeah.
And it's like, when you start controlling and you start trying to really make it a super controlled element of who can come in, what companies are allowed in, to me, that just sets you up for a bad future. It just doesn't. I think it needs to be, everyone's allowed in, and then we all can make our own judgments on whether we like this company or whether we don't like this company. This idea of like, well, I want the sport to grow, but it's got to be the right people. Like, what? Who are you to say that, man?
Yeah, I don't think it matters. I think it's people are gonna have their stories, and like, let's say that I decide I want to go to a new company. Like, there's going to be all kinds of speculation, and that's part of the fun, I feel like. And if somebody who I'm close to says, yeah, I think he's going here, I don't care, because at the end of the day, there's still going to be speculation. Like Harbaugh just said, just met with the Chargers.
Yep.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
ESPN announced that. Does that mean that he's going there? No.
Breaking news now. Interviews are breaking news.
Breaking news, yeah. So, like, it's just part of sports.
I mean,
and does that mean he's going there? No, but people are going to now speculate. It creates more stories. It creates more hype for the NFL. It gets people talking in college sports too. I mean, it's part of sports. That's what I love about it too. I love that there's all kinds of different stories going around. There needs to be more. Yeah,
right now we have, it started with James Conrad being, his van being seen at MVP headquarters. Then we had Chris Clemens' van being seen at Discraft.
That's good stuff to me.
Discraft's. Wait until we start getting private jets and people start tracking people's flights and being like, oh wait, Yuli just got on a flight to. I actually don't even know where any of this.
I just saw Yuli in the airport. He's going here.
Blah, blah, blah. Exactly.
Like all that stuff's good. It's good for the sport. I don't know why people are trying to like be so hush hush about this and that. Especially if you're now. I understand Ricky trying to keep it quiet in his camp. That's what he wants. That's good. He's allowed to control his. He's allowed to control
people.
He's allowed to control his environment, but he can't control other people's deal and what they do.
My whole thing is like, if you because I don't care. I honestly don't care. But if you do care and you want to take the stance of like the player and the company are the only two people that should announce anything or have any sort of like, this is what's happening, then stop telling people. Literally stop telling people.
Yep. We've said that before. Yeah. Keep your mouth shut.
Yeah. Just zip it. All right, Eagle is in the wings, pun intended. We're going to bring him on. We've been trying to get Eagle on the podcast for a while now. It took him basically making the biggest announcement in the 2023-2024 season. We now have Eagle with us on Tour Life for the first time. Eagle, congratulations first off on the new big deal, man.
Thank you. I appreciate you guys having me.
Yeah, we are excited. I know you've been really busy this week. I know you've been doing a bunch of podcasts and stuff. And I know you've got stuff going on tonight. So we'll hopefully have you in and out of here. But we do have a lot of questions.
I love it.
The first one, I got to ask, what happened with the YouTube video?
That was so frustrating. So I upload the video because I'm going to the MVP warehouse and I have like a 4-day trip up there. The video is going to get posted on the Monday coming home. So I want it on my YouTube channel. I uploaded it private, think everything's fine. The issue was I put it on a playlist that was public.
Yes.
That's how it got out. But it was still listed as private, but I sent it over to Simon because I wanted to get his opinion. So I had to put it to unlisted. So there's like this weird loophole where there's an unlisted video on a public playlist. So like three people
can find
saw
it. Yeah.
But I like saw the view count go up by like 3 views. And I thought those were like me or Simon. So I was like, what's even going on? And yeah, that's how it happened.
Those are your most loyal fans, because the only way to find that is literally by going into that playlist and then looking through all the videos and seeing that one. So that makes a lot of sense, because people, you know, I was trying to speculate what happened, because I was like, Eagle would have had hundreds of people get notified that a new video was posted if you actually posted the video. So that makes a whole lot of sense. Hey, shout out to that one guy, man. You got to send that guy a disc or something. That is like your most loyal fan, the one that actually ended up finding the thumbnail. He's just digging through Eagles playlists all day.
Yeah, that's crazy. He'd just be scouring my page. He must have the screen up all day.
Right, yeah. and recording everything. He's just like, I'm gonna find something. I'm gonna find something. You know what I mean? He just, there it is. Got him.
Well, you remember with Ricky, people were like, they found out the dynamicdisc.com/like Wysocki or Ricky Wysocki page was built, and then that got out, and then all of a sudden, like, Dynamic had one for every single player to try to. So it's always fun in games, I'm sure, when it comes to the speculation. The other question I had on YouTube: what's the deal with uploading all your old Patreon videos on YouTube?
Well, I just was going through my YouTube channel, like essentially trying to clean everything out. And I just figured these videos have like no views on them, and why not just post them? So I just figured, let them out in the public. I wasn't too sure if they were going to all go to everybody's feed.
They will.
The funniest thing is, like, they're just all old videos from like the past couple of years. And the one title was MVP plus GMC vlog. And like that video has like 10,000 views right now just because of the title. I'm like, oh my gosh, people are trying to find anything they can.
Yeah, we were seeing, I mean, I've seen all sorts of things of people sending me tweets of like outlining the MVP and the mountains and stuff. Yeah. It gets wild. Another thing that I had people send me was that you ended up following MVP and Streamline. Did you follow everyone on Instagram, or did you just follow those two accounts prior?
Well, I have been following them because I've just been curious. I guess it was a mistake on my part to be following them, but I didn't really think anything of it. But I don't know. It was still speculation. People figured it out, but I feel like we did a decent job keeping it secret. But the speculation became so strong that it just became what everyone was thinking.
What I mean, you've been in disc golf for a while now. Do you like that it's headed this direction where this many people care where you're going? Or do you wish it was maybe 10 years ago where social media wasn't even that big, there weren't that many people kind of following it, to where you can kind of just go literally drive your van that has your name on it with your photo, your image on it to wherever you want, and no one's really going to say anything. What are your thoughts on kind of the way that disc golf off-season movement is headed?
I'm somewhat impartial to it all. I have been thinking this a lot. Like, a lot of disc golf is turning into like, what's the latest scoop, almost like a TMZ. And I really don't like that aspect of the sport, because what I got into was this grassroots game that it was involved with the community, and there's still that, but it's becoming a lot more drama involved. But at the same time, it's a double-edged sword, because it's giving people more opportunities to play that game I love. So I see both sides of it. I lean more towards the grassroots side, but it kind of is just what it is.
Yeah, you go ahead, Yuli.
Yeah, no, I was gonna say, like, so with all the movement and everything, being a high-profile player, you also hear where other, like, let's just give like Gannon, for example, like being in the position that you're in, you kind of have your little birdies, just like we have our little birdies, and you know where people are going and where they're not going, and everything. I feel like it's inevitable that stuff gets out. Are you like, so with your stuff, you said everybody kind of knew MVP, but there is like this, to me, there's like still the little edge of maybe not, maybe not. Mm-hmm. Do you think it's good that there's that little speculation, or would you rather it just be completely hush hush somehow and nobody know, which is impossible, because I feel like I have a good idea of where people are going. I don't know, because I don't have the last say, but like for the Gannon situation, did you know where he was going, especially being in, right there in Discmania?
Well, Gannon came to Colorado mid-December and came to my house to buy discs off me. But I was trying to keep MVP a secret from him. So it was Gannon, Schlabach, Gavin Babcock, and Alden all came. And I didn't think they knew about MVP. I'm sure they had their speculations, but they came to my house and they handed me a glitch. It's like, Merry Christmas. And I'm like, I don't know what this is, but I kept it hush hush. I put all my MVP discs in the closet, but Gavin figured it out, because I bought a new TV, and he was like, he's a Packers fan. The Packers were playing. So I named my TV Prism Proton. So when he was about to airplay to the TV, he started cracking up. He's like, "What's this? What's this?" The most unlikely things are going to happen. Like this, the secret. So funny. It's so hard to keep a secret, even though I felt like I did a pretty good job. Mm-hmm. But at the same time, like, I knew Gannon's secret, he knew mine. So we did a good job keeping it hush hush. But with great power comes great responsibility. Like, obviously, I remember when Paul signed his first Discraft contract. I was in the room when he was talking with his agent, and like, I knew about all that. And of course, you want to tell everybody, because it's like exciting and you get a buzz off of it. But me personally, I don't want to ruin anyone's secret. Yeah. That said, it's human nature. Secrets going to slip out, and there's a lot that you can do. And if you want to go to whatever length that you can to keep it, then by all means. But it's tough. It's very tough.
Yeah. And I think there's a me and Yuli were kind of talking about this before. I think there's a massive difference between someone like you going on Twitter or Instagram or in a YouTube video and being like, "Oh yeah, Gannon's going to Discmania," versus you maybe speculating based off of something else, right? Like, if you just go out and say it, that's way different. And we've seen that happen in the past with some players. So I'm with you on that. I don't know. But again, me and Yulia have said this 1,000 times. Like, if you don't want anyone to know, just like, don't tell anyone. Just like, that's the easiest way.
The toughest thing from my perspective is I have a handful of other sponsors, and they're like wondering, like, can you re-sign with it? So it's like Whale Sex, for example. I had to say that I can't continue my relationship with them just because what my MVP contract said. So I'm like, all right, well, sorry, but I gotta cut ties for this next contract. So right then, it's like, I'm not really telling them, but I am telling them that the move's happening. And same with like any other company. So that's the tough thing. And like when you're having those conversations, you're not necessarily like, don't tell anyone. You're trying to be respectful. You're just saying like, yeah, I'm moving on from my current manufacturer and going to a new one. And then, I mean, who knows what they say, not like throwing anyone under the bus, but word spreads quick.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think, didn't the Pro Tour, I don't know if they've done it this year, but I think or maybe they did do it earlier. Doesn't the Pro Tour like send us out a spreadsheet that we have to say like who our manufacturer is? Like, oh, don't worry, no one will see this. It's like, I remember them doing that, right?
I filled that out at the very end.
Okay.
Because there's like a deadline of December 31st. I actually filled it out like January 3rd, but yeah.
Crazy stuff. I do want to touch a little bit because we have a clip, but you already kind of talked about it, so we won't show the clip, Silas. But I do want to touch a little bit about the TMZ stuff because it is an interesting, like you said, it's at a certain point, it's like, I wish it didn't go this way. But at the same time, like this is really the way that more opportunities will get brought in to the sport, to the pros. Obviously, your contract would probably not be what it was if people didn't care what you were doing off the course as much as they do. So what is it that you talked about the drama and all that stuff. Like what are, you can give examples if you have them, but like what are certain things that you wish didn't exist in disc golf right now that's happening?
And let me add to that, because one of the things that I noticed, especially over the last couple of years, is, let's say a few years back, you were everywhere. Your vlogs were like one of the most popular things possible, you know, like way back in the day. I feel like you did a really great job of really getting your brand, your personality out there. It was the first vlog that I ever remember being like, ooh, I need to see what Eagle's doing type thing. So you really helped jumpstart that kind of avenue in the sport to where now vlogs are everywhere. People are doing YouTube. People are doing that. That's kind of slowed down a little bit, I feel like, with you, or has it? Like, I don't know. I just felt like you were doing like a lot of lives on your Instagram and doing, when you were with Simon and different things like that. Have you like taken a step back from that to try to be a little more personal, focus on your game or your mental space, to kind of just go in with what Brodie said?
Right. So I'd say that rings true for what Paul says. Back in the day, that was like one of the major aspects that drove me. I liked the attention, and I still do, but for now, I kind of think of it in a different light. I think about I want to start bringing more value to people, because it's amazing going out to every tournament and having people just say like they like my videos, they love watching it, and saying that I'm an inspiration. Like that's really cool. And I've had just so many messages by people saying they were in a really dark place, saying that I've helped them get through it. And that's just crazy to me. So like, I feel honored to be in the position that I am. That said, like I did take a step back to focus on my playing, because content creation is not easy. And you don't want to shoot videos that look like terrible. So it takes time to make a decent product. So it can take away from playing, but also I just, I value my own mental health, and it's a fine line for me to walk, because like I said, there's so many incredible people supporting players out there saying endless nice things, but you tend to filter through all those just to find the negative ones. And like I always joke, it's like I could go absolutely ruin my day right now if I wanted to. So kind of walking that fine line between the two. Right now, I'm actually focused on more content creation, because signing with MVP, I feel like there's some really good opportunities, and I want to make these videos. One of my goals is to get to 100,000 subscribers, which I'm getting pretty close. But it's walking a fine line, knowing what's good for you personally, but also maintaining your brand and bringing value to people's day.
Was that part of the contract with MVP? Was a social media side to it?
Just as much as anyone else. I would say even a little bit more relaxed. One of the big aspects of the MVP contract is I can really just be myself, and that's paramount playing disc golf. The more mental baggage you have is the more bogey strokes. So as much as you can streamline everything, like that makes everything better once you're out competing.
For sure. Let's talk a little bit about Simon. Now, obviously you and Simon created the the Crush Boys over on Discmania. Both of you guys were kind of synonymous with Discmania. Simon ends up leaving to go to MVP. You stayed at Discmania. What kind of influence did Simon being at MVP had on you going there?
I would say it was significant. There is a whole picture. There's a lot going for MVP, and Simon's a part of that because, I mean, you're not going to deny it. He's the most popular player in disc golf. So wherever Simon goes, that's going to be an incredible destination. But with MVP, how they've rose to fame since the shot and learning about their business model, they've really cracked down on manufacturing, like learning a different side of disc golf, really like pushing the boundary, in my opinion, and bringing it all together. And now they're attacking the more professional side of the sport. It's just something that I really felt like I wanted to be a part of. And I have a 5-year contract. So I think the next 5 years is going to say a lot of what disc golf will be in the next, for however long. So personally, I think MVP is one of the best places to be for that. And that's ultimately why I was attracted to them over anyone else.
Did you have any options to go to another manufacturer where you would be the main guy, you would be the face, and you could kind of grow or build the brand through your name solely, like more of a solo thing? Was that a thought?
Yeah, I had other offers, and Discmania obviously was one of them, which I was the guy at Discmania this past year. So I believe together everybody achieves more team. So I really thought going to MVP, having the team there, having Simon, having James, it's just that we're going to be able to help each other out, and we're going to be able to help MVP reach new heights, because how they've upscaled their whole operation has been impressive to right now, but I only believe that it's going to grow more and more. So I just felt like it was the place to be.
Was there a world where Gannon, you, and Kyle all could have been on Discmania? Was that discussed ever with Discmania?
I don't know. I think that could have happened, but it's really hard to say. I didn't know the behind the scenes discussions at Discmania, House of Discs, so I really can't speak too much on that.
Okay.
What about we know that Simon said that he actually got offered pretty much the same thing from Discmania to stay, and he decided, no, I needed a new start, I need a new place, new destination. Was that kind of the same thing with you, or was it just such a significant offer that it was a no-brainer?
No, all the offers were pretty competitive with one another, and I would say I wanted to change. I wanted to reunite the Crush Boys. I wanted to throw new discs. Playing on Discmania for 9 years, my whole touring professional career has been with Discmania, and they've been nothing but great to me. But with anything, things can get a little stale, and I have so much respect for everything they've done. But just me personally, I wanted to try something new. I wanted to see what I could do with other plastics. So to spice it up moving forward is something that I feel like Simon said it best, is going out to a field to practice, or just practicing in general. While you feel when you feel stagnant, it's like, I gotta go out and practice. But now it's like, I want to go out and practice and learn everything new. And I've been searching for that feeling, and I feel like I got it now.
Gives you a little bit of that jolt that you might have been missing these last couple of years.
For sure.
So let's talk a little bit about the actual contract and why maybe there wasn't, or what was the decision behind not announcing more details about the contract? We've seen when Ricky went to Dynamic Disc, we've seen that. We saw when Paul went to Discraft, we saw that. What was the reasoning behind keeping the contract details other than just it's a 5-year deal? What was the thought process behind that?
Personally, the MVP wanted to keep it private, and I'm lean more towards the side of wanting to keep it private. I feel like disc golf's in a weird place because we don't necessarily hear a lot of athletes talking about their endorsement deals with, say, Nike, Adidas, or whatever. Team sports are a different thing because teams have salary caps. So disc golf's kind of functioning in that weird in-between zone where you could go either way. Personally, it's not information that I felt comfortable with, and MVP felt the same way. So that's basically why we haven't disclosed anything.
Yeah, I mean, it makes sense. I think in one side, it definitely does help the sport in some way of, Paul announcing 10 mil, 10 years. I think that definitely had an impact on Ricky's deal of what he got. But I agree with you on, I think the onus needs to be more on the players and their agents. And speaking of which, do you have an agent? Did you have someone helping you with the deal?
Yeah. I work with an agency, Feature Card Management.
Okay. So I think the onus should be more on the player and the agent and the manufacturer themselves to try to figure out what makes sense. And when you have all these numbers kind of getting thrown around like that, it also kind of makes it weird too for some of the players, because it's like, if we knew how much Simon was making and then you came in and you were either making less or making more, like that can create a weird dynamic between you guys. So it is, you nailed it on the head. It's a weird dynamic of where people like demand or expect to know the details when it doesn't really add up to what we see across the board in other sports. Yuli, did you have anything to add to that?
No, I think honestly, when I look at all those things, I think that there's just like a ceiling, and that ceiling is that $1 million mark. And for me personally, when I see somebody sign with a company and they don't mention that it's $1 million, it's probably less. And to the player, that can be like, okay, so I'm not the guy, and I'm just speaking candidly here. I do think though, we should all probably have some sort of out with that and be able to say, like, there is no ceiling for how much I can make, because I know that's true in your case. I feel like that's true. Like, there's no reason Eagle can't sell so many discs that he's making millions of dollars. You know what I mean?
Right.
And if you have a cap to where they're like, oh yeah, no, there's a ceiling, you can't do that, then I feel like there's probably a problem with your contract. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And so I feel like you said, there's a weird space that kind of keeps us tucked in. But if it were me, I would be like, there's not a cap to how much I can make. I can make millions, or if I, play really bad, I have a low set that I shouldn't be getting that money anyway, type thing.
Right. And a lot of it is that most disc golf contracts are based off of royalties, and you don't really know what you're getting. Exactly. And even the guaranteed money is based off royalties. So
100%.
Until it's like you're getting guaranteed money for you as a player, then it's tough to like say exactly how much.
Exactly. Like
getting.
I could say my guarantee's small, but I have the potential to make a lot. And I feel like in the space that I'm in, I probably make more than a lot of people, but I'm not willing to say that, you know what I mean? Because, like, for example, me being the captain of the team, if let's say that I just give the number that I'm making, and I'm making so much more money than like Anthony Barilla and Adam Hammis, that puts my team in a weird spot. So for me personally, that's something that I did just disclose or don't say.
Right. And it varies every single year too.
Every year. Yep.
Does this Mania own the Crush Boys, or is that something that we're going to see MVP use?
Well, they don't know it. I'm actually the one who created it.
Really?
If you look at the last one of my recent posts of me and Simon saying that the boys are back in town, if you scroll to the old picture, it was like 2017. This guy asked me and Simon to sign his truck, and we like squatted down and took a picture in front of his truck, and then my caption was, "The Crush Boys are back." And ever since then, it like took off.
Oh, that's cool.
We have seen it though with some people where like their logos are created with the company, and so the company kind of owns their logo as well. So we will see the Crush Boys stuff happening in MVP then. That's the plan.
We're trying to think of a rebrand, but nothing sounds good. And I think even if we rebrand, everyone's just going to still say the Crush Boys. I don't know what, like, it's kind of interesting because Discmania did make Crush Boys stamps, And I don't know what really the future holds. Potentially that MVP will explore that market, but we'll see.
Gotcha.
Yep, that's it.
Oh, there's the photo. There you go. Look at that. Heck yeah. All right, random question. This was actually from one of our listeners. They wanted to know, how has it been eating meat?
Whoa. Well, actually, I'm making some barbacoa right now in the Instapot, so it's been great. It's been great. Yeah. It's a weird subject because it can be controversial, and I've always been careful because every once in a while, speaking of like ruined my day reading comments, there's been just times of people like old vegan fans just ripping me a new one in the comments, and I'm like, it's actually kind of funny. But yeah, it's been great. Much easier to eat just everywhere in general, but energy, muscle mass, everything is just improved. And that's not to say that you can't do it with a vegan diet, but essentially to do it right, you have to go to the lab and get every sort of supplement, do blood work. And for what I do, that's just too much work.
What was your first meat item? Sorry, I just got to ask that real quick. What was your first piece of meat that you ate after?
Well, the first thing that I started doing to eat meat was my friend Daniel. He owns a company called Tribe Vitamins, and they do desiccated liver supplements from grass-fed bison.
Yeah, that was not the answer I was expecting, but maybe I should have expected it from you.
But I started taking bison liver because liver is known as like nature's multivitamin. A lot of great protein, choline, and B12, like essentially all the stuff that is hard to get as a vegan. So that was the first thing I did. But the first time I took like a bite of red meat was I ate a bison burger, and I was eating it. I was like, this kind of tastes like a Beyond Burger. But ever since then, it was like, I was like testing the water, seeing maybe I'll just go back to vegan, but I'm not going back anytime soon.
Because you didn't do like cheese either, right? You didn't do any animal products?
Well, I was vegan for about 10 years. I was basically raised vegetarian. My parents, when I was very young, set me off on like a pescatarian style diet. So it's always been like, I think probably before the last 2 years, I ate red meat like once in my life, and just some fish, chicken, turkey here and there, but mostly vegetarian, mostly vegan all my life.
How was it like? Did it like taste bad? Because I was a vegetarian growing up too, and when I first, like my first ever meat that I ever made was McDonald's chicken nuggets, which might not even be chicken, but I remember being like, man, I don't like this. Like, this doesn't even taste good. It's got that like weird meaty taste. Did you go through the same thing to where it was just like kind of gross, or the texture was just like, okay, yeah, this is.
I was definitely a little suspect of it. Like I said, with the bison burger, I was like, kind of tastes like a vegan substitute. But once I got used to eating it as like, I'll be a little controversial here, but we evolved eating meat, and it's so ingrained in our DNA that going back to it is like, you as a vegan, like I craved meaty type things like protein, mushrooms, like that's all just your brain telling you want to eat meat. So after like a week, I was like, all right, let's do it. I remember my girlfriend made a steak, and my first bite of steak was like trying to compare it to something vegan, and there was like absolutely nothing I could compare it to. And I'm like, oh, I get it. I get it.
Well, what about, so let's switch subjects a little bit, because you said you're gaining more muscle mass and different things like that. How's the injury coming along with the shoulder? Kind of dive into that of what you're feeling for this next season, how the recovery process is coming.
Yeah, so I'm just over 12 weeks post-op right now, so coming along good. doing PT religiously. Just before I got on here, I did one of my 2 sessions I do every single day. I've been going twice a week, and then just doing a bunch of other modalities, sauna, red light, the whole 9 yards to get back, heal as well as I can. My plan right now is to begin my return to throwing program next month sometimes, which will entail just very light throws, putting. But hopefully the goal is to be back by Champions Cup, which would be the first major mid-April. And that's right at the 6-month mark, which generally speaking is when you have the more or less the okay to get back to sport.
Okay.
Nice. So off season, pretty much just physical therapy. Are you able to like putt at all, or are you doing anything left-handed?
I've just started throwing some more left-handed shots because a lot of it too is like you don't want to do the follow through with your right arm. But the weather hasn't been so good. But once the weather gets nice, I imagine I'll be throwing some left-handed shots. And the plan right now is to actually go and play the All-Star event left-handed and maybe putt right-handed. So it's all coming along. Just figured like I earned the spot playing, and might as well take a free trip to Florida. So it's all coming along good. And yeah, putting I'll probably start putting in the next like 1 to 2 weeks.
Someone did ask, do you think you could cash playing left-handed?
No.
Okay.
Not right now. I would say if I had to put a rating on myself left-handed right now, I'd say maybe, if I'm being generous, maybe 950, 930.
Oh, you're not even getting into tournaments.
Not even getting into tournaments. But I do notice, like, if I put like a few days of deliberate focused practice in, I get good very fast, just because like I know what to do. I know how to train. So like if I wanted to spend like 2 or 3 months really focused, I bet you I could get up to 960, 980 pretty quick.
All right, we'll let you go here in a second, but I do have to ask a few more questions. First one, real quick. Was there ever a thought of retiring from disc golf and becoming a kendama player?
Okay, so this is funny. I was on Smashbox the other night, and Terry was asking me, like, was there any like take by anyone who's like was just ridiculous? And they're like, that just made you like, wow. And I was like, couldn't come to think of it, but you saying that like me going pro kendama, that was probably up there.
Okay.
But no, if people want to, or at least for me, like when I see like a pro kendama player jam, it's absolutely insane. The amount of hand-eye coordination and just like the muscle memory is insane. Maybe they feel the same way watching disc golf, but watching like a pro kendama player compared to disc golf, I'm like, that's way more impressive. So I would have to sell my soul to get that good. I'd probably have to put like 15 hours of work in every single day, and I probably still wouldn't be that, because some of the best guys have been playing since they've been like 4 years old.
Yeah, nutty. All right, without saying TMZ drama stuff, what are some pet peeves? We haven't had a new guest on in a while, so this segment hasn't come around. So what are some pet peeves that you have going into the 2024 season being sponsored by MVP?
I will say I don't want to name names, and I'm definitely part of the problem to a certain degree, but just the amount of complaining on the Pro Tour. It's just like, I feel like people are always complaining about something, whether it be tee pads, baskets. I'm like, okay, there's definitely issues there, but man, it's like, you can't really fix them right then and there. So
I kind of forgot about that Facebook group. That Facebook group is pure comedy sometimes. There was almost okay, we can't get too much into it, but there was almost a revolt at one of the tournaments where they're like, hey, do not do this. And someone was like, no, everyone do this. We're starting a revolution against it. And I was like, you're gonna cancel the tournament. The player, if that ever got leaked of like the conversations and stuff that was said in that player group, oh my gosh. It is nuts what some people complain about.
It really is.
It is pretty crazy. And I'm not perfect. I complain as well, but sometimes it's turned up to 11. I'm like, geez, what is going on in people's heads?
Nice. Yuli, you got the final question.
Yeah. out of all the players on tour right now, you look at all the games, all their attributes, who's somebody you look at and you go, man, that's nice. I kind of wish I had a little bit of that.
Oh man, it's probably like, what's the top? AB's definitely up there. AB is just an all-around impressive game. I'd say like our styles are pretty similar when I'm 100%. But I'm trying to think. It's a lot of the European kids who just like have this massive forehand, perfect technique, and once they dial it in, it's going to be like perfect.
A couple of them are coming over to play a lot more too.
Right.
A lot more of them are playing in the States next year.
Right. So no one's really coming to the top of my head right now, but just the young kids overseas.
Seems like AB gets a lot of those. He's always like, oh my gosh, AB's speed is insane. Or a lot of people pick Gannon's crazy putting, which is an obvious one. But great answers, man.
Sweet. Well,
Awesome,
I know you're a busy guy, so we'll let you go. But congratulations on the new deal. Do you want to plug any stuff that's coming up? I know you have some discs maybe right now that people can. You got them on hand. Here you go.
Yeah. So the only thing I really want to plug is Prism Proton Envy, hopefully coming to a dealer near you. This is my first signature Team Series disc with MVP. As soon as James threw in the shot, I had Envy. It is such an amazing disc, like hybrid putter / mid-range, just like a disc that I've been wanting to throw for a long time. So I figured the Envy's got to be my first signature disc, and I can't wait to go out and throw it.
That's the one that's so good that you named your TV after it.
I named it after the plastic.
The plastic.
Prism Proton.
Very nice. All right. Well, hey, we appreciate it. You're welcome on whenever, and we wish you the best of luck leading into it, and look forward to seeing you playing left-handed in the All-Star event.
Absolutely. Yeah. Thank you, Eagle, so much, man.
Appreciate it, brother. Congratulations.
All right. See you guys later.
There he is, Eagle. Very nice for him to take some time. He's been doing the rounds, and the more the podcasts are popping up, the more these guys are going to get busy.
Yeah,
lots of places to stop by and chat. So interesting stuff, though. Interesting stuff from him.
No, I agree. No, and it's cool that he gave time to us to come on here. Very easily could have been like, nope, too busy. Got all these other things to do, but he gave us a little piece of his time, which is very important.
Yeah, it'll be very interesting to see kind of what they end up doing. One thing I didn't talk to him about, because again, I kind of wanted to respect it. Obviously, you kind of saved him a little bit there with the TMZ drama question that I had. But me and you can talk about this. If you're James Conrad right now, what's going through your head? Because he leaves Innova because he wants to be the guy. He felt like, and he said this, he felt like he was kind of a second thought or kind of wasn't really in the plans for what Innova was doing. So he leaves Innova, he goes to MVP. He's the man there. He goes out, wins a world championships, throws the most popular shot, most famous shot in disc golf history. Now all of a sudden you get the most popular player, Simon Lizotte, they come on. It's like, okay, Simon, James, back and forth. And now all of a sudden you now have Simon's, number 2 guy, the guy that, Batman and Robin, if you will, Eagle coming over. If you're James right now, what's the thought there?
Well, there's a couple ways you can look at it. You can be bummed and be like, hey, I'm not the guy anymore. These guys are coming over and they're stealing my sales, and I could have had all these discs and blah, 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 blah. There's that side of it. But knowing James, I don't think that's it. I think Eagle hit it, when he said one of the reasons he went over there is Simon's there and it's going to help him sell discs and be more popular. I'm always the glass half full type thing and put my nose down to the grindstone and work really hard. So I hope that's where James comes at all of this and says, okay, I got these guys now let's see if we can beat them every single weekend and show that this is kind of my team type thing. So 2 ways to look at it. I can definitely see both sides, but they got 3 great players over there at that company. And if they're smart about marketing, they're all going to flourish.
If we were going to do that manufacturer cup that we talked about, and let's just say each manufacturer had to pick their top 4 guys, who's the 4th guy at MVP now?
Is it Raven?
It might be Raven. Yeah, it might be Raven.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think if anyone else pops out to my head of like MVP guy.
Raven's pretty good.
No, Raven he is a little nasty player. Yeah, he's good. Paul Crans, that someone saying Paul Crans in the chat.
Paul Crans, yeah. Ooh.
New kid on the block.
Mm-hmm.
Very, very well could take that spot for sure. All right, we're gonna have Gannon join us here in about 5 minutes or so to talk all about his deal. But I want to pose this question to you. I did this really poorly. I think it was it might have been a lack of sleep / I was having someone fill up our gas tank out here and the corgis were going nuts. I was not on my A game for the off-season podcast, but I've had time to think about it and maybe get my point across a little bit better. So I want to get your idea on what you think of this change. Right now, the terms of everyone's contract is January 1st to December 31st. If you are going to start if you're going to switch manufacturers, you have to wait until the new year, right? Why not start doing November 1st to October 31st contracts? And the reason for this, you have a month to get ready for Black Friday. So there's plenty of time. I know Black Friday is a huge deal in disc golf, and these manufacturers want to make as much money as they can off of Black Friday. Also the holiday sales of Christmas and all that. You have plenty of time to plan. A month is plenty of time to plan that. So you can get all the new player hype and everything and get the products out there right around the holiday seasons. On the other side of the coin, you now have players that as soon as their season is done, they can just jump straight into this new manufacturer. You know, people look into it, but you can watch Eagle the last couple videos or the last couple promos and read into it. Like, does he actually want to be there saying that stuff, or does he feel like he has to because his contract's not up? You don't have this weird idea where like Eagle's foot was already out the door.
Yeah,
he was already headed to MVP, but he had to do all this stuff to finish with Discmania. You don't have any of this weird stuff anymore. So, what are your thoughts on that?
No, I agree. I mean, I remember back when, right after the World Championships in 2018, I had a feeling that I was leaving Prodigy. Like, I had a feeling, but I had the USDGC still to go, and it was definitely a weird spot to be in. But at the same time, I feel like there's been also times where people get out of their contracts and then they have legality issues and stuff. So it's been all over the place. I don't know what the correct answer to that is. If there is,
you as a player, wouldn't you?
I would rather, yeah. That seems better.
Your season ends, you're going with Innova. Like, wouldn't you rather like not be like, oh, I can't go to any courses right now because they're going to see me throwing Innova. They're going to see me have a new bag on my back. Wouldn't that just make it easier? And obviously the pushback that I got from Hunter and Trevor were, well, manufacturers aren't going to want that. They're going to want to have you through the holidays. And all that would be happening is literally it would just be a switch of who gets you at what holiday.
Yeah.
Everyone now gets people at the end versus now you get them at the beginning when players are the most excited, when players are super pumped about the move versus having to deal with players that are like, I'm done with this company. I'm out, but I still have to do this promo on Instagram. So here it is. It seems like it makes a lot more sense to me.
Yeah, no, I see where you're coming from. I think disc golf's a different kind of sport too, because in other sports you can just get traded.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like just on a whim, you're like, oh, playing for the Lakers now, and I lived in Minnesota. This is weird. I have to move. And so yeah, it's definitely a different space. I mean, yeah, it'd be easier, but I don't think it's a priority that people really even think about. I guess if you were a manufacturer,
I don't know if it's even been thought about.
Yeah, if you're a manufacturer, it might be something that you should think about and be like, okay, where can I get the best money? And once my player leaves and I'm not losing money and and then you can just have your new lineup and ready to go for the next season type thing.
Yeah, and there's also not this weird thing of, we've seen players after the season unload their discs on, collector groups. We've seen companies all of a sudden start really putting an emphasis on trying to get rid of all the discs of that player. It takes all that away. You don't have that anymore.
Yeah.
Because doing that in the off season is so much more highlighted than doing it during the season. Right? Like it just would go more a little bit under the radar if Discmania through October was pushing a lot of Eagles product, knowing that he is going to end up leaving.
Yeah.
Than doing it in November and December.
No, you make a great point. I really think that could definitely benefit in a lot of different ways. I have a question for you though.
Yeah.
Listening to Eagle talk about, I have a new jolt to practice, right? I have a new kind of passion to get out to the field and do this thing. I kind of go through the same thing. Like Vlogmas was great for me because I had to go out and I had to play. If I didn't have that and I didn't make a commitment to get out and practice, I wouldn't have practiced as much. I know that. If that's where my mindset is, that's where Eagle's mindset is, that's where Simon's mindset is, that means these guys, including myself, aren't grinding as hard as you could possibly grind. Are we missing like coaches or something? Are we missing something right there? Or is the off season a place for you to just be able to do whatever you want? If I'm a manufacturer and you're playing for me, which right now we'll just use them because they're the people who pay you to sell the most product and to play the best, right?
Mm-hmm.
Isn't there like an underlying issue there of that I just said out loud that is real, that there needs to be some sort of motivation for these players that's not self-induced to get out there and practice? Like in your contract, like, hey, I want to see you in the field getting at least like 1 to 2 hours of field work a week in. I kind of wish I had that. I do. No, I'm
all right. Well, we've got Gannon in the wings here, so we'll pause. Maybe we'll bring that up with Gannon.
Let's bring it up with him
because that is interesting. It is an interesting topic,
okay.
And I have some thoughts on it. But
okay.
Before we get into it, let's bring in the man of the hour, Gannon Buhr, signing a 3-year deal with Discmania. We do not have him yet. I thought we had him. So then let me answer your question then, and we'll throw him in here.
Do you feel the space that I'm living in right there? It's like a weird thing.
So here's the thing though. You're saying like you need to have like a person of accountability. There needs to be someone that holds you accountable. That shouldn't be like your manufacturer or anything like that.
No,
like,
I just used it because they pay us. So.
Yeah. If you're making $5 million a year, then yeah, hire a personal trainer. If you can't control your eating habits, hire a chef. If you suck with money, hire someone to deal with your financials, right? Like if you're a terrible driver and or maybe you're a big partier and you like to party at night, hire a chauffeur. Like there's all sorts of things that to kind of help you out the more money you get. But this idea that, and I think we all struggle with it, right? Everyone,
yeah.
The idea of like, oh yeah, every day I wake up and I'm just ready to hit the ground grinding. No, you're not. It's anyone that says that no. But the difference between the people that are super successful and the people that aren't are the people that either fake themselves out or trick themselves into keep going day after day after day, or the ones that just have that mental fortitude to just be like, the last thing I want to do right now is go lift weights. But I know I have to, and I'm going. So
yeah, it's a different mindset for sure. There's different athletes all over the world. I mean, you and I have been around sports our whole lives. We know the people who are so talented, insanely talented, that if they put in half the effort that I put in, they'd be 3 times as good as I am at those things. But they don't. The thing about sports, though, especially in the team aspect, is you have a coach, you have an accountability to your team, and they make sure to hold you accountable. But
we see people get cut all the time in team sports because they come into training camp way out of shape, or we've seen what you would consider like someone, they call you like a cancer when you go into a locker room of where they're just not a team guy.
Yeah.
So like it's definitely probably easier when you have a teammate or teammates, because you are, it's a little bit easier for you to feel accountable to kind of help them all out. But all right, we have Gannon here, so we'll bring him in here. We'll bring this up with Gannon too, because I'm curious to see what he says. All right, so Gannon Buhr, brother, did you get some abstract art behind you?
Wow.
What the heck is that?
Is that a rose?
What is that?
Are we good?
Yeah.
Okay, I don't know what happened. I messed something up. I don't know.
No, we're asking what the heck is behind you. What is that?
I got no idea.
It's
probably the
cords.
one.
Is that cords?
That's probably the one. I think it's the one piece of, I don't know, decorative stuff that's in my house.
So it is like an abstract art piece.
I guess you could say it. Am I glitchy on your guys' screen?
Yeah, a little bit, but your audio's fine. Silas, how we doing?
I could try to rejoin and turn my Wi-Fi off if that helps.
Don't turn your Wi-Fi off ever.
Well, I'm in Iowa. The corn stalks are Wi-Fi, so it's like terrible.
Try to reconnect and see if it's better. Yeah, we'll try that real quick. So apparently, Discmania is paying Gannon a bunch of money. Breaking news: he's able to now just go to art galleries and buy super abstract pieces of art for his.
I liked it.
Place now.
It looked like it, but with the circle that he had on his shirt, and then it like that thing in the background kind of threw me for a loop. I'm not gonna lie.
Wait, show my walls real quick, because people go nuts about my walls. I've never. I talked to Kelsey about it today, though. I've never been a wall person. It doesn't bother me not to have stuff on the walls, but we are going to put some stuff up here. I think we're going to put, I think we'll put maybe one of the million YouTube plaque up here. We'll put maybe some Guinness World Records, some national championship stuff, and then maybe some of Kelsey's cheerleading stuff as well. So we'll get stuff back here, but I don't walk into this room and be like, oh my God, there's nothing on this wall. This is brutal.
Ooh,
I need to put something.
It looks better, I think. No, it doesn't.
Oh yeah, no, I think so. Yeah, we got Gannon. Okay, bring him in here. I think this is better.
Are we better at all?
No.
Why is it gets bad whenever I join?
The audio sounds good. So I think that's all that matters.
Wait, now I'm blurry, and so are you. I think you ruined everything.
I'm bringing the whole team down.
Oh no, Silas, what do you think? Are we good to roll? All right, we're gonna roll it. We can hear you fine. Can you hear us fine? That's the most important stuff.
Yeah, you guys are perfect on my screen. I think it's just my end. I don't know.
Okay,
it's all good. We can hear you, so we'll run it. All right. Okay, so the first question. Well, first off, congratulations on the new deal. 3 years with Discmania. Very, very nice. But my first question were you in talks with Prodigy at all about staying?
I was. Am I good?
Don't worry about the video. We can hear you, and we can hear you, and you can hear us. That's all that matters. We might actually just do audio for you if you are. Maybe Silas can find a photo that you can throw up of you and just do audio and try that. That was gonna be another question.
Okay, should I try to rejoin on internet? Because I feel like this is worse. I could go back to it. I just want to make sure it's the best it can be.
Yeah, go back to the internet.
Okay.
Go back to the internet. If it's still bad, then we can just go audio only. Yeah, we'll just go audio only.
We'll put an old Prodigy photo of you up there. Just kidding. We won't do that.
One of my questions was going to be like, when is he going to get out of Iowa? Is that too personal? Is that too? Bro, you got no internet there. You got to get out. I got fiber now, so we are flying on all cylinders over here. Nice. Yeah, it's very nice.
Yeah, I had a whole crew coming out to look at my internet, which is hopefully by next week. So far, the last couple of weeks, though, on this setup, money.
Yeah. No, Your quality is definitely improved, which is nice. I can't wait until we're just in the middle of nowhere during tour trying to do this.
No,
it may not have to be. Some weeks might not have to be live. Some weeks might have to be recorded just because of the situation that we have at hand.
Hopefully he can actually reconnect. What if he's just gone?
Then I will do my best to answer the questions like he would have answered them. We will see, though. Is he also standing? Is he just going to do a standing interview? Because that's kind of fire.
I think he's taller. I think he's just sitting there, just a monster.
You can see like the top of the ceiling behind him. He's just sitting in a chair. Oh, man. Well, hopefully he joins. If not, I have a lot more other stuff that we can talk about. We're like in weird limbo right now because it's like I don't really want to start a new topic, and then he pops in, and then we're just like, oh, okay, I guess we'll go back to the same topic that we keep going back to, on the motivation factor. I think one thing that we have seen in other sports is when you come from no money to a lot of money real quick, there is sometimes a difficulty in doing the same kind of grind, the same kind of work ethic when you're like, oh, wait a second, like I'm kind of like set, I'm kind of good. So that we might see some of that in disc golf, but again, like, I don't know. It's
well, like for example, like, dude, my work ethic is nothing like it used to be. Nothing.
It's definitely harder when you have more responsibilities. You get older.
But with age and stuff, like that's like I'm not going to say that I've gotten as good as I'm going to be. I don't believe that because I feel like I can refine my skills, make what I have better, more consistent. My mind's better, my mind's clearer, and those are all important. Luckily, we play golf, which is, your mental is probably your best attribute on the course once you've hit a certain skill level. I wish that I still had that inner desire to just go play 5 times a day field work. I don't have that. You know what I mean? And I'm fine with admitting that. I don't have that. Will I ever get it back? I don't know. Do I care? Not really, because like I said, I feel like I can still get better with what I'm doing right now.
Yeah, you become more efficient in what your time, the time that you spend.
Exactly. But when we're talking about superstars, we're talking about Eagle, we're talking about Simon, they hit a spot as well to where now they're getting to the field and practice. Oh, there he is.
Oh, here we go.
Yeah, I was just getting to a great point and you had to interrupt us, Gannon. What the heck? Yes.
Oh, yeah, you're way better.
We'll see what happens when I get brought in. We're good. I think we're a lot better.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, we're way better.
Wow.
Okay.
I got a laptop instead.
Oh, look at that. Look at that. Okay. All right. So we were talking about Prodigy, and obviously, for those that don't know, you kind of had your ups and downs with Prodigy. So what was the thought process between, maybe talking with them to see if you could stay with Prodigy?
Yeah. So the CEO of Prodigy was at the Pro Tour Finals in 2023, so last year, and he had talked to me about at least wanting to give me an offer for my next contract, and so I waited, and it was a little bit of a weird situation because pretty early on in the off season, I got a pretty solid offer that I guess just like it was like my baseline. I used it as leverage when I was talking to other companies and stuff. And so I didn't use an agent for any of this because I thought I could do it all myself. I did have a lawyer look over my contracts, but
your mom didn't help you at all with these contracts or anything like that, or was that she
did more of the
behind the scenes?
Like yeah, I did pretty much everything having to do with the numbers and the terms of this contract was all me pretty much.
Gotcha. Is there any thoughts into potentially having someone represent you moving forward, maybe after this deal, or do you like that aspect of it?
I don't know. Well, for me, it was like financially, it didn't make sense with some of the. I had talked to a couple of agents, but just financially didn't make sense for me. But yeah, so back to the thing, but I gave him some time, and we had some conversations, and I think I already had like 2 or 3 offers, and I think they were trying to put together something interesting, or maybe a new I don't know, entity into an offer for me. And I know I had a couple offers already, and I kind of gave them a deadline of I need something by this date, and they weren't able to give it to me, and they asked for about 2 more weeks of time, and I just couldn't really do it. And so I never got an official offer from Prodigy. I felt like as if I gave them plenty of time, but that's kind of just how that went down.
Gotcha. And when it comes to switching, because this is, correct me if I'm wrong, this is your first time switching manufacturers.
Yeah.
So what were the things going into, switching or having people send you offers? What were the things that like stood out to you as these are the things that matter the most?
Well, there's a couple different things, because you can look at a company just as a whole. You have big companies, small companies, companies that market well, better than others do as well. And so I was kind of looking at that as well, but also, you kind of have to look at the people that are also on the company, where, maybe you have some players that are good at disc golf and they also have good social medias, stuff like that. You want to surround yourself with people like that as well. And then in terms of an actual contract, I look for a solid base salary and a good bonus structure. And I also wanted to have a contract where I'd get to help design my own discs as well.
Oh, nice. Okay, very cool. Was the decision to go to Discmania, was that made prior to Eagles? Like, did you have any talks with, hey, Eagle was leaving, or was there any talks of like, hey, I'll come to Discmania if Eagle is still there? How did that all work out?
I don't know like the exact timeline of everything. I knew either way Discmania was at pretty much the top of my list for a company that I'd consider going to. So either way, I don't think it would have mattered for me. It would have been really cool to have Eagle on the team, but I think I might have. I found out pretty early that Eagle was going to be leaving, and then that didn't change too much, because pretty much any company I talked to, a big thing's having a lot of friends at the company with me. And so obviously we were able to get Alden. Gavin was already on Team Discmania. I'm good friends with Kyle as well. So it's kind of like a perfect situation. And so that was big for me. And, when I heard Eagle was leaving, it was definitely sad, but in a way, the Simon and Eagle era of Discmania is over. And it kind of was when Simon left, it just wasn't really the same. And now the Eagle's gone, obviously it's kind of a new fresh slate for Team Discmania, as almost, it's going to be a very, different team in a way for 2024 and the years coming. But I think we have a underrated and strong team. And also I think that our social media, especially with Alden, is going to help a lot. So I think we'll be out there quite a bit. And I think we'll have some pretty solid finishes as well, get a couple wins. So that's always important, just to show that, you can win with the company's discs is a big thing as well. And that, another thing with Discmania is I think they do make really good discs. And one thing that attracted me was the like how the stock product is really, really high quality. I mean, you can walk in any shop and get any C-line FD, and it's going to be the exact same, anything from the Evolution line. So any of their new made stuff is all really, high quality. It's all the exact same. And I think that's just because their new manufacturing process is really consistent over there in Sweden. So it's good to see. That's something I look for, because if I'm going to have my name go on a product, I want it to be something good.
Was Gavin going over there, was that kind of helpful in your decision of having Discmania be like the top choice of, talking with you? Obviously you guys are very close. You were able to kind of talk about how it is over at Discmania versus Prodigy.
Yeah, it was cool to, like, I guess, reunite with Gavin in a way. Obviously we toured. I mean, we didn't necessarily tour together the whole year, but we play all of our practice rounds together, and we hang out all the time outside of the course. And so, but even just on the course, who I am, I just like to throw people's discs from their bag and stuff like that. And so I kind of got to see, what was in his bag, and I enjoyed a lot of it as well. And so, but yeah, I mean, like I said, with also getting Alden on the team, it's like it's my dream situation.
Did you get your license yet?
No.
So was that like a package deal? Like, hey, if I come to Discmania, you have to have Alden too, or else I won't be able to come to tournament.
That's pretty much what I told any company. I was like, hey, you're getting Alden. That's the deal.
And Alden was kind of fine to join wherever.
I mean, yes, but he also needed to get the best deal for him, which obviously ended up being Discmania as well. On the financial side, but also on the side of, he's with all his buddies again. So it's kind of like, his ideal situation too.
So playing those practice rounds with Gavin last year, when he was on Discmania, you were on Prodigy. Was that, because you've mentioned this before of like, it feels good to have all these guys together again. You're more on the side of like a team, like this is Team Discmania more than I would say I am. That's something that you feel like if Alden would have went to Discraft, Gavin would have went to Innova, you feel like that would have been a way different situation for you next year?
Maybe partially. I mean, considering that, me, Gavin, Isaac, and Alden are all going to be in the same house, having majority Team Discmania is cool because you can just talk to each other, and it's a lot easier. Like, if there's like new releases and stuff, you can kind of bounce off each other, promote, like cross promoting just through our friend group as well. And so that's really cool. What was the other part of the question? Sorry.
I was just saying, like, what would you think would be like the big difference if all of you guys were not on the same manufacturer? You were all separate. Like, what makes being all on the same manufacturer? Like, what makes that actually better in your eyes? And you kind of answered it with
yeah. It just kind of
promotion
feels like family a little bit better. Obviously, I still have Kyle, and we're good friends, so that's still cool. But I don't know. I guess it's kind of hard to explain. It's kind of like, you don't really know someone that well, but if you join the same team as them, you get to know them because you're talking discs. You're just, talking about new stuff that's happening.
It's more comfort.
Yeah. It definitely feels a lot better. It feels like I'm not alone, I guess, in a situation. So it's like, I feel comfortable. It's always nice to like anything in life, just relate to people and something. And so having on the same company, asking the same questions, it's really good to have.
Well, now Isaac, poor guy, he's left out. He's alone.
He's got his brother.
Yeah. If we could get them next year, that'd be so cool. We gotta perform real good. We gotta sell a lot of this. That's our goal. Isaac and Ezra.
So the way that you and Eagle kind of took this off season was completely different. In the sense that Eagle wasn't trying to get people to, stir up where he was going. It seemed like were actually trying to, is this actually a hint at where I'm going, or is this not? What was the thought behind that? Was that actually thought out well in advance, or did you just say like, hey, this morning I'm going to join Discmania's collector group, and then tomorrow I'm going to join MVP's collector group? How much thought and effort went into that?
Well, it's funny. There's also a lot of like really false rumors going around that people were very certain of, which was kind of funny. One of them was me bidding on Innova discs. That never happened. And people said I was buying destroyers. That never happened. And that was like a legit rumor. That wasn't a joke. Another one was like, oh, Gannon just joined the Discmania collector group. I've been a part of that group for like 5 years because I sold something that I got in a players pack in an intermediate tournament 5-6 years back.
Okay.
So, and the same thing with like Alden. Like people are like, oh, Alden joined the Discmania collectors group. Well, there was like, it's a funny story on how Alden even got on Team Discmania and how we filmed promo together in Colorado with Alden, Gavin, and my Caddie Matt, because it was basically like we were flying out. We already planned to fly out, just me and my Caddie Matt on like we'll just say Friday, and on like a week before, I was like, Alden, like, hey, we're doing this, it'd be cool to get you on the team, and he hadn't decided, and he has an agent, so it's a little bit of a slower process. And then we keep getting, a couple days out, 3 days out, 2 days out. And I'm like, is there any chance? He's like, nah, man, 0. I'm like, because there just wasn't enough time. And then it's Thursday, like the day before we're gonna fly out, and then we somehow like wrapped it up with Discmania. Ended up getting Alden like in one day, and then I saw him out there the next day in Colorado, and so that was super fun. And then Gavin spoiled a surprise because he wasn't supposed to come to the trip, and then we were on a phone call and he just like accidentally said something like, yeah, man, it'll be good to be there in person. I'm like, what are you talking about? And he's like, oh no, I'm literally going. I was like, oh my gosh. And so we had all 3 of my friends there. And so it was just a really fun trip.
Nice. So the messaging on the MVP Facebook group about overstable runs at MV, that was just to get people get people
and then
talking.
I had like an Instagram story where I had an Innovadisc propped up and then MVP basket.
Yep.
And the thing was like, oh, my dog's watching me play disc golf, but I like called her over to the window. I was like, hey, I need to make a story. And then I went and, got a dog toy, propped up the Innovadisc, and then like tried to make it seem like I accidentally showed it or something. And like in the leaving.
So you were
video.
having fun with it. You were just having fun with the whole process.
Yeah. Well, I figured I'm not going to be able to do it for at least 3 years, so I might as well do it. And then in my like leaving video, I said like 5 different taglines and companies, and it was funny because
that was well done, by the way. That was well done.
Oh, well, it was. I wasn't super happy with how it came out actually because it was like late at night when I was filming it. It was kind of like last minute a video I was trying to make. And obviously it was a little bit weird because of the situation last year. So I kind of had to like think of something to do. And, I was frustrated because, everyone's like, oh, he's reading from a teleprompter. He's got a script. Well, I think it probably took me like 5 minutes to write out that script myself. And then I would just like look at my phone, set it down, look at the camera, and then try to do a take. But I would just like mess up one word because I'd get something out of rhythm or something. And so like that's why it was so robotic, is because I was just like, I just want to get done with. But it ended up having a decent impact, and I think it's very funny to have people only kind of see, maybe only hear, I'm a dynamic player, or they only hear a couple that like one of the taglines, and they're like, oh my gosh, no way, I just figured it out, and they're just like so wrong.
Yeah, you don't realize how difficult it is unless you try to do it yourself. Your first ever like sponsored post where, the company's saying like, hey, make sure you say this.
Yeah.
Don't say all this. And there's been plenty of times that I've been able to witness people doing their first ever sponsored post on Instagram.
Yeah.
And you just see them walking around for like, the video's 30 seconds and it's 15 minutes for them to get it. It is tough. It is very, very tough. So, but I thought it was done. I thought it was really well done.
Yeah, I'm a lot better like unscripted if I'm just like kind of
that's dangerous. On. That's dangerous, Gannon.
Yeah, there was a I know for like the Discmania interview, I had like a question that they asked me for like the announcement video, like the story of me, I guess. They'd ask me a question, but then I kind of warned them like I might just ramble on, but at least it'll get some. It'd be a lot better flowing. It'll sound more natural. So that was kind of good to have as like a backup if they needed more footage.
What are some predictions for yourself for next year? What are some goals that you have with a new manufacturer?
Yeah, I mean, I want to like get my bag figured out. I'm having
pretty
like
good goal.
Yeah. Well, there's a couple issues.
This seems like it'd be tough for you because for those that don't know, Gannon is obsessed with discs.
Yeah.
Gannon will come up to your bag, take every disc out and be like, this one's trash.
Garbage,
this one's okay. Garbage. This one's fine. And I'm like, that's my go-to nuke. And you said it was trash. So
improve your game. I'll get you to throw some better discs.
So how tough has this been, having to try to find a completely new bag?
Yeah. Oh, it's really tough. I think I've done pretty good on the mold side of it, like what molds I like. But then you obviously have some different like runs, or I'm a big fan of just beat-in discs already, and so a lot of the stuff I've been trying to buy is beat-in stuff, just to have it. And I got a lot of old Eagle stuff as well, so it already has that kind of tour beat-in, I like to call it, to where it's like it's reliable. It's not going to do anything fluky. And so I got those because beat-in discs definitely do fly slightly better and more true, because I feel like discs have like a 2 to 3 week break-in period where they fly maybe more overstable to start, and then after 3 weeks they start to fly how they should fly, and then they last for about, depends on the plastic, but usually like 6 to 8 months they last, and then you notice it to get substantially flippier. And so I like them around that like 2 month beat-in mark, because it's already past that first stage, it's into its money, it's prime, and so that's what I've been looking for. For like overstable stuff though, it's a lot easier just to throw new stuff. But the hard part, honestly, there's a couple hard parts. One is especially on the fairway driver side of it, Discmania I think probably has the top fairway driver lineup, and I've talked with a lot of players too, and they agree. I mean, we have FD, FD1, CD2, CD1, FD3, PD, and these are all just like top quality fairway drivers. And I've only really had 2 fairway driver molds I felt like were usable with Prodigy. And so to now have like a whole new part of my game unlocked, obviously like Calvin throws his Eagles really amazing. And I feel like my tee to green is going to be a lot better, because I'll have that 7 to 9 speed disc I'll be able to throw instead of throwing a driver soft. That's really hard to do. I also have the DD now, which is a 11 speed disc. So it kind of fills that slot where if I just need an accurate late turnover, I can still throw a driver and get good distance and have accuracy. And then the other hard part is just living in Iowa, where a couple days ago we had negative 45 wind chill.
Oh yeah, that was crazy.
And we have 2 feet of snow, and then there's spots in my yard where it's like 3 feet deep because of drifting. It's just been so windy and freezing, and we almost got into an accident today because it was like fine, but then it started snowing out of nowhere, but it was already cold, and then like the tires would make it all icy and slippery, and so I can't go out and throw anything. I mean, I don't. Something I did last year in the off season was like, I'd go out with any disc and I would just go throw maybe 5 to 10 shots really quick, go pick them up and then go back home just to get a little amount of, I guess, trying new discs out. But like, you can't do that when you have 2 feet of snow. You'll lose your discs. It's not fun. It's been really tough, because I'm probably going to have to just kind of go based off feel. And I taught Brodie this, checking the parting line, making sure the stabilities, so you're throwing the good discs. I think that is a big thing, is people don't throw discs that are consistent. I think that's definitely a thing. I also take really good care of my discs. I try to make sure, like, after every tournament, I like wash them, and then I like get all the chunks out with a towel or something and like friction burn it off. I stack them in a pile to make sure there's no warping. And so I'm very specific on that too. And I think that is one mental, but two might actually make the disc better. So, but yeah, I'm going to Florida. My dad lives in Florida, so I'll probably be there a week before All-Stars, and then I'll have All-Star weekend to figure stuff out, and then we get to the first tournament of the year, and then I'll be able to probably, I try to stick to 18 to 20 discs in my bag, and so I'm gonna probably only have a couple. I bet I'll lean on a couple molds pretty heavily. I'll probably just throw like overstable driver, pretty neutral driver, overstable fairway, maybe overstable mid, and putter. I mean, it'll be really simple, I think, for the first couple events as I figure out how my discs fly, because you have discs that fly differently in different winds. You can have something that flies the same in no wind, 2 discs that fly the same in no wind, and then you get a little windy out and one becomes more inconsistent. And so having to weigh the options there is going to be kind of interesting. And it'll probably happen during tournaments and stuff. And as I feel more comfortable, I think, I'll have maybe a couple better finishes.
Nice. What about let's get into the cash, your actual contract.
Yeah.
Give us the exact number. We're just going to get it out of you. What's the exact number? What's
the reasoning on not having that be public? Your first big deal.
Brodie, make him give it public right now.
Well, I'm just asking. I'm asking whose decision was that?
He wanted to do it on Tour Life.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that was the agreement. Yeah, I'm definitely not allowed to disclose really anything. The only thing I can say about my contract is, 3 years, obviously. I'll be getting some Gannon Buhr discs and very similar. I mean, it's the same thing as like Kyle Klein with his Creator Series Vanguard, or the Eagle Cloud Breaker. So stuff like that, I'll be getting my own version. But I mean, like I said before, in a contract, I look for solid base structure or solid base salary and good bonus structure. And I felt like my deal was pretty solid in that. And so Discmania was really easy to work with too. Austin Montgomery, who I worked a lot with. I mean, I could text him and he'd respond in probably less than 5 minutes any time of the day. It could be 11 o'clock at night and he'd respond. And so it was that. And then also him just being a really cool guy. It made the kind of negotiation process really easy, because I'd say something and it'd be like talking to a friend. It's not super, I'd say professional in a way. It feels like, I'm talking to a friend. It's a lot more efficient because I was able to feel comfortable around him and say actually how I felt, instead of, maybe saying something just to please someone. And so that I think Discmania and myself, we are very, very happy with my agreement.
I guess see if you can answer this question, because with Prodigy, you kind of almost had like what people would call like a rookie contract, right? Where the rookie comes in, you get them at a pretty good discount, and then if they turn out to be a superstar, then they all of a sudden sign this massive contract. Is that kind of what happened here, of where you had already locked yourself in with Prodigy and you're just kind of waiting for that to finish so then you could get a bigger contract? Like, is this a substantially bigger contract than the one that you previously had?
Can you say what you were making from Prodigy now that it's over?
Good question, Yuli. Good question.
Oh, I wish I knew the answer to that. Oh gosh.
Yeah, talk to your lawyers.
Right now, we'll get an answer. I'd say it's probably wise I don't say.
All right.
It's like,
given the track record, I wouldn't say anything.
Yuli's just trying to get you in trouble. Can you say? Can you?
Anything good for me?
I mean, are you going to be able to eat a lot of chicken McNuggets at McDonald's?
Yeah, let's just say
how many?
Like how many more?
Yeah, how many more chicken McNuggets are we talking?
At least 100,000 more.
Okay.
100,000 more chicken nuggets.
Nice.
I like that answer. That's a lot of chicken nuggets, man.
A lot of McNuggets. All right, you brought up Kyle Klein a little bit. I do want to talk about this, because I think the way that Discmania made the announcement, I think, was confusing for some. Did you think that did you have any say in the wording? And the wording, for those that don't know, is the future starts tomorrow. And then that's when they announced that you were signing with Discmania. So were you aware that that's like the tagline that they were going to go to with the marketing of you signing?
No, I didn't know about that until I got the first couple images of the promo.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because and obviously you said you went out and did a bunch of stuff with Gavin and Alden, and Eagle had Simon in his announcement. And it was just something that I just always find interesting, is just to see that a lot of these manufacturers do the team aspect, but then it doesn't always add up, right? Where James Conrad wasn't in Eagle's announcement video or part of it. It was Simon and Eagle. And then with this, they say the future starts tomorrow, and people are like, well, Kyle Klein's a major champion. He's still there. What's going on? So that you didn't know, you didn't really have any say in kind of the marketing side of how Discmania wanted to do it.
Yeah, I didn't think twice. I didn't even think twice about the Kyle thing, because in my opinion, it's I guess you can look at it they're disrespecting Kyle, but at the same time, it's my announcement video. It's not we're not focusing on Kyle. It's I don't know how else to say it. It's just my announcement video. I guess they could have done a promo with me and Kyle and Alden or everyone, Gavin, or whoever's on the team too. But I don't. There was definitely no it wasn't
on your side of things. Yeah.
It wasn't meant to give off that kind of feel. I think it was more just Gannon's on the team. I think it's kind of I guess I'm another piece of the puzzle of having the future, because Kyle's already young, and then you add me, and we're a super young team with 2 major wins combined. And so like together, like I helped like kind of finish, I guess, the future of the team in a way. So I think that's a more positive way to look at it.
Yeah. The way I took it, and you said it earlier, you had Simon and Eagle. They were the staples of Discmania. They are both gone now. And now you have Kyle, Gavin, Gannon, and Alden. The future starts, like, that's the way I think they were trying to go about it.
Yeah.
But I think some people took it the analogy of where, you have a quarterback in the NFL, and then you draft in the first round a quarterback, and that other quarterback, obviously it's a little bit different, but that other quarterback's like, wait a second. Like, do you not trust that I'm the future here? You're going out and having to draft another quarterback. I think that's how some people kind of perceived it, but the way you described it it's probably what they were trying to go for, but it probably just slipped through the cracks a little bit for some. Let's see. The other things I wanted to ask you, you kind of talked a little bit about your off season of not being able to throw as much outside. So what are things that you're doing to kind of keep your game sharp going into next season?
I've been trying to exercise a little bit more, and definitely just like do network and putting in the basement. Now, I haven't had a ton of putting in the basement, a little bit less than I think, and I can make up excuses and stuff, but I'm deciding between 2 different putters right now, the Link and the P3X. And so now the P3X hasn't been made in the Discmania made mold yet in their D line, so they're putter plastic. And I think we're working on getting me a box very, very soon. That way I can start practicing with a lot of them and testing those ones out, because the mold is different than the older mold that they had. And so I only have I have maybe 10 links to putt with, but I think I'd prefer the P3X. And so I only have 2 or 4 P3Xs. And if you know me, I usually have 50 discs when I practice putt, and I just rep them. But I'll be getting those soon. I'll probably try to still do my 200 to 500 putts a day. I'll just do a lot of walking. So that's not a big deal, but
get your steps in.
Well, you know what you can have? You can have 2 putters, 2 baskets, back and forth.
Yeah,
have you ever thought about that?
That could work.
A little less. It'll cut your walking in half. Or someone out there can invent, basketball has where you can shoot a hoop, it goes into the net, and it shoots back at you.
I don't know why we don't have that. We need a machine that spins the disc at you.
Either that or a conveyor belt where it goes into the basket and then it goes onto this conveyor belt, and the conveyor belt comes back and you can just grab it. Ooh, yeah.
That'd be a good technology.
Very, very expensive, I think. Yuli, did you have anything else, or do you want to go to
an extra 100,000 chicken nuggets?
Yeah, I mean,
you might be able to come up with something.
Yeah, I can spend on something else instead.
I do love hearing about your pet peeves, and we've had you on the show before, but do we have any new pet peeves moving into the 2024 season that you would like to share with the audience?
Well, I don't know why I don't prepare myself for this. I need to have them ready, because I have so many that I'm just get under my skin. Gosh. Do you have any? Just get my brain rolling.
Ooh, do I have any new ones? What's some new ones? Let me think.
Let me look at my phone. Give me 30 seconds. We'll see if I.
It's I write them all down. I write all these down.
I have a full list of. I guess a good one of mine is people that if you bring. Okay, you go.
Well, you can finish yours if you want.
Oh, I was just gonna say a pet peeve of mine is if you bring up a topic or something that you would like to see changed, instead of having an actual discussion about it, people can just shut it down by just saying you're complaining, versus actually having an open discussion. That to me, I think, is not helpful in trying to make disc golf better.
So mine is, and it's not it's gonna sound bad, I guess, but
don't say it.
No, I'm saying
I'm just kidding.
Because that's why I said that before. And everyone's a nice person if they're taking their time to message you. But now I also see it from their perspective too, because I'll say the pet peeve is whenever someone just sends you a book. Basically, they just send you a lot of letters.
Like, wait, are you talking about like someone that is texting you this, or are they DMing you?
Like a fan texting,
like a fan DMing me.
Okay, a DM. Okay.
Well, and it gets really bad sometimes.
Are you reading that? What?
I try to do my best to like
read everything,
because I feel bad if I don't respond. So,
brother, you can't feel bad about that, dude.
I do.
I mean, you're gonna spend your whole life on your phone.
Yeah,
I know. I asked a couple of questions in the like Discmania Collectors group about some discs, and then all super nice people, but just like maybe their like text wasn't as like efficient as it could have been, and kind of like the small talk portion, like, hey man, how's it been? I've been watching you for blah 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 years, and I have a kid that plays disc golf and he looks up to you, but then I also have these discs I want to send you. And like, they're being really nice. And I was on that side of it too, because I remember messaging people like even Kevin Jones, and I would send him like a full paragraph, a big paragraph. And
lots of letters.
Because I wanted to seem as professional as I could get. And that was like 3 years ago, probably. I might have even said you one, Brodie. I don't even know. But like,
he didn't look at it.
I never did see it.
Chance.
Never did see it.
That guy. But so yeah, like that, or like people that maybe like will like be pretty quick to comment stuff, and they like misunderstood it or misread it or misheard something, and then it like makes you look bad, or like it's like the very bad side of something you might have said. They just like take it really terribly and start spreading rumors and stuff. Like this one guy, I
feel like we're your therapists right now. Like you're sitting down, lying down, being like, yeah, man, I gotta tell you about this one guy. He left a comment on my.
Yeah,
it really got to me.
I have so many. I'm gonna like next time I come on Tour Life, I can promise you I'm gonna have like a list of like 30.
Okay.
We're gonna take an hour to go through every single one of them, because
we'll do a full special on Gannon's pet peeves.
Please. I mean, I have a bunch of pet peeves.
So what is your pet peeves? That people just send you super long messages? That's the pet peeve?
Like a
just don't read them. Just don't read them.
I have to, because I feel terrible.
You're saying if you're gonna message me, be quicker. Be quicker to like get your point across, or be a little more personal. Be a little more personable.
I'll say it's very cute that you're telling people to be quicker about something, Gannon.
Oh boy!
I'm slowly, right? I'm gonna come out and
I had to. You set it up yourself up for that one.
Okay, whatever. But like, yeah, just PSA. To some fans, we do care about you, but just keep your message straight to the point. You don't have to introduce anything. Just if you have a question, just say it. We'll answer it. I will answer it. Maybe Brodie and Paul.
Yeah, do not say we will answer that.
You
Gannon.
can be my fan. I'm at a point. I need to build my fan base up. Maybe
there you go.
Famous as you guys.
It's hard for what he's saying is with all these messages, it's hard for him to, because he does respond to all of them. I'm going to say here, he does respond to all of them. So it'd be a lot easier if you just got to the point so he can get to more people, which is very admirable of you to do.
Yeah, it makes sense.
Or like, I have a couple pet peeves just about like, I mean, when you're on the course and stuff, like you miss a 60-footer and it's an air ball and someone says good bid.
Oh,
it could have been close, but like it didn't hit any metal. It didn't go in. Stuff.
Do you guys? I got a question. Do you guys
or
do this?
Saying, "Oh, much better than I could have done." I don't like that one.
Oh, that's a tough one.
I'm like, I'm a pro. I don't
know. Does this happen to you? You throw up a putt, and it's gonna miss, but you kind of like act like it's got a chance. You give it a little lean, I've done that before, knowing so that like I'm not that embarrassed about like how bad it misses, and to the crowd I try to like lean it in so that they maybe have. Oh, I almost had that one on.
That's surprising. I missed that one.
Yeah, weird, right, guys?
Yeah, I don't relate to that. I throw putts up and I have no idea what's going to happen. I'm as shocked as everyone else.
My putt in the playoff against Andrew Presno for Mid America Open last year, like I think it was like a 23 footer. So I don't know why everyone's saying it was 20 feet. It was not 20 feet. It was
it might have been shorter.
It was definitely not. It was much outside 20 feet. It was between 20 and 25. And like, I don't know. I seriously don't know if I've ever felt more embarrassed, because it's like, I thought my life was over, because my whole like ice in the veins thing that I have going for me was gone. Everything was gone. And then luckily, like 2 weeks later, I won Idlewild and started the third round off with like 4 circle twos in a row. And then I won, and I was like, I'm back, baby. Everything, no one even remembers that, so they forgot about it. So I'm good. I mean, but I don't know. If I didn't save myself at Iowa, who knows where I'd be? I might not even be playing disc golf anymore.
It's the yips. That's like a real thing. People get
yips in your head.
But like most of the time they go in with the yips.
That's not the yips.
That's not the yips. The yips is like literally someone that's a good basketball shooter can't shoot anymore. Someone that used to be good at chipping literally just chunks and skulls the ball. Like
what do you have to say about my like chop, where I'm like,
yeah, but it still goes in. The yips for you would be like you
have to miss for it to be a yip.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
What if it's like, okay, but you could have a putt that like, I don't know, you could have a putt that hits one chain low left and squeaks in, or you could have a putt that hits hard chains high right and falls out, but the high right putt was technically a better putt. I don't know.
For someone to have the yips in putting, yes, I agree. Like there has to be maybe some of that indecisiveness of when to actually putt. That's part of it. But also the result also has to be negative. So if you were like a 90% putter inside of circle one, and all of a sudden like you don't know when to like release, and then you turn into like a 75% putter inside of circle one.
What's like one yip then? Because I'd one yip. What would you call that? Just a miss putt?
No, that was a brain fart. I was just like
it was definitely a brain fart. Like on that putt, I was like focusing on everything, because when I step up to a putt, especially in a high pressure situation, I always remind myself, see the line. That's the only thing that matters. Because like when I have like any putt, honestly, on the course where I'm, I have a decent focus, especially those big situations, because I always remind myself, it's like, pretend you're practice putting and you just hit a putt perfect right before, and you saw the line of how the putt went in. That's just what I imagine on my pressure putt. And I like on that putt, I just like, there was nothing in my brain. I was like, I don't even know what I was thinking. I just threw the disc, missed the putt, then got a reality check, and I banged the 30-footer that didn't even matter. I don't even know why I putted it, but
you live and you learn. You live and you learn.
Yeah.
All right, Yuli, hit him with the final question here.
Yeah, who you got now since the last time? Who on the course do you look at and you're like, man, I wish I had that?
Oh gosh, I don't
know. Any up and comers? Anyone that's like,
yeah,
that's like that could be like the next Gannon Buhr, the next young prodigy, if you will. Not to.
I like Paul Kranz and how he gets a lot of he has like really good timing, and he has like good snap and good commitment to shots. He just seems like him and Kyle Klein are like, I feel like the same player. They're just like super well rounded in every aspect. I feel like putting is probably the only part of my game that, I think people would want from me. Even though, I feel like a majority of the weekends I can be a top 15 backhand and top 25 sidearm, but like
top 25 sidearm club. Welcome to it.
Yeah. You are. Congrats. I think like Sullivan Tipton's forehand is like the greatest forehand of all time. I think he's like my number one forehand player. Like people don't understand how good his forehand is unless you've seen it in person. Like he was throwing 20 feet past the drops on a hole 12 at USDGC, which is like insane, a bomb for a backhand. And he's parking hole 16 on a Spikeheiser forehand. And then he goes to 65 feet away at water and throws a little touch forehand up shot. Like who does that? And so accurately. Hole one, he threw a soul on hole one at USDGC.
Oh, I love that.
Like he's crazy talented. like I'm jealous of Germ's late flipping fairway driver or like Wraith forehands. I'm super jealous of that. Now my forehands, if you just looked at my forehands and what I throw, you'd say I'm a pretty good forehand player, but I don't have that kind of depth. I'm a really good scramble player, but I don't have the off the tee, I feel like. And then I think I like Calvin and Isaac's backhand consistency. There's not really a shot that they can do that much better than me. Maybe Calvin, like with like a low hyzer, is probably the only one. But then I also have the flex on them. But like I think just their consistency, because I feel like at least last year, 2022, I felt pretty good about my backhand. But last year there was only like 3 to 5 weekends where I felt like I was me and I could just focus on the shot. The other ones I had to like think about my form, and it was really frustrating because like I see these other players and they're just like walking up, throwing the disc. It feels like they're very feel based and they just feel good about the shot, where I'm just like, I don't even know what's going on with my backhand. And sometimes it worked out. Sometimes it was really awful. I wasn't as consistent as I was in 2022. I did get more wins, which was nice, but it felt like when I was off, I was pretty off, where in 2022, if I was off, I was still getting 8th place at least.
Yeah, I mean, the fields have gotten deeper, and also I think I've talked to and heard this from a lot of professional golfers that they would much rather increase their ceiling if that meant that their floor was going to drop versus being in the middle, because by increasing your ceiling, you actually have chances of winning.
Yeah,
versus
that is true.
If you bring your floor up, but by bringing your floor up, you also drop your ceiling, it's much harder to win. But
I mean, because in 2022, I had the lowest average finish of any player on the tour. I was consistently the best player on the tour in terms of finish based. But if I didn't win USDGC, I only won 1 Silver Series, and so I was very consistent and playing really well. But like, just who cares? You got to win. People care about the wins.
They do care about the wins. You don't have to remind me about that.
When I like my mindset when I get into a higher pressure situation or something that means a lot more, it flips a switch in my brain. I just play so much better when I'm in a like serious situation. I have a hard time starting a tournament actually. But when if I have a chance to win, I think I won 3 of the 5 times I had a chance last year on Elite Series. So I do pretty solid about closing out. I just have to get to that point.
Yeah.
Nice. All right, well, Gannon, we'll let you go. We appreciate you taking the time to jump on here. We wish you all the best of luck next year and with your new Discmania team. And we look forward to seeing all the content you and your little hooligans will put out next year. And enjoy all those extra nuggets you get to eat.
I'm excited.
All right, we
thanks,
appreciate
buddy.
it. All right, take it easy, Gannon.
Thanks, guys. Have a good one.
All right, there's Gannon Buhr, ladies and gentlemen. You can check him out at the All-Star event here in the upcoming weeks as well, throwing some new plastic, seeing some different hats and jerseys and all that stuff. It'll be very, very exciting. All right, Yuli, we still have a lot to discuss. I'm going to try to fly through some of this so it's not a 5-hour episode. Let's talk real quick about player movement. We have obviously Alden Harris. We've talked about this a little bit. He ends up joining Team Discmania. Chris Clemens joins Team Discraft. Gavin Rathbun posts on Instagram letting everyone know that he's leaving Dynamic Disc and doesn't really know what's going on. This is an interesting post. It says, "Thank you, Dynamic Disc, for the past 2 years of support. I'm not sure any plans for the 2024 season. I know I'm not done with disc golf quite yet, but I know if worst comes to worst, I have a whole year to get my body and mind on the same path. Thank all of you for the support. Couldn't have been doing it without you guys." So interesting, like kind of throws it up there of like maybe not even playing next season.
Yeah.
And this guy was he was a top 20 guy at one point. So kind of got that injury that knocked him off a little bit. So hopefully someone picks him up. Dude's got a lot of potential, a lot of skill. So hopefully someone does pick him up and he can tour next year as well. We have Aaron Gossage re-signing with Discraft for 2 years. And then the no word. These are people we haven't heard anything from. We know they're leaving, but we don't know anything else than that. Nicholas Antilla, Chandler Kramer, Parker Welk, Sullivan Tipton. We just know they're leaving. Haven't heard anything about that either.
Weird that Gannon kind of brought up Sullivan Tipton.
Ooh.
out of nowhere.
Ooh, look at that detective work by you.
I know.
Let's go. I like that. All right, we're jumping to our wild story of the week here. It starts off saying, my buddy lost a disc in Denver. 3 months later, he got a call from a guy that found it 60 miles away in Colorado Springs. We drove down to play a few courses and get his disc back. We pull up to the guy's house, and he tells us that he used it the day prior and aced with it. He knew we were coming to get the following day, but still inked up his ace accomplishment on the back of the disc, and then happily gave it back. Thoughts on this etiquette, Yuli?
Oh, you know what? Somebody did that to me last year.
Really?
Mm-hmm. Lost a disc. They didn't ace with it. They just inked the back of it and then handed it back to me.
Oh.
And I was...
the wild move. Move.
Hey, you know what? I got the disc back. It flies the same. I'm happy to get it back. Personally, you probably shouldn't be riding on somebody's disc, but at the same time, it's better than them keeping it.
That is true. The only time I've ever found someone's disc and thrown it is when it's like some dark horse disc that I've never heard of. I'll pick a disc up and be like, this is 125 gram something. I'm like, I have to at least throw this. I have to just see how this flies. But if you have a wild story, send it into our intern, David, wildstorytour@gmail.com. That is wildstorytour@gmail.com. And we might just read it right here live on air. You never know. All right, let's jump into something juicy real quick. Here we go. This guy tweeted me out. He says, hey, Brodie, what's the chances we can hear you both chirp on this? So obviously he got my attention. He posts a screenshot, and I'm guessing this is from maybe one of Drew's YouTube videos. A comment said, love your candidness, Drew. Would love to see you on Tour Life and have this conversation in greater detail with Brodie and Yuli, but I agree with everything you said here, man. Drew responds saying, they would not have me on the show. They just use my tweets and comments for likes and shares. Which David, who runs our Twitter account, quickly found the episode that Drew was actually on Tour Life and did like a funny little meme with that. But what are your thoughts on that? On Drew Gibson saying that we use his name for likes and shares?
Drew is welcome on the show. Always has been. As far as I go, I don't know about Brodie, but as far as I can say, Drew is always welcome on the show.
If we have something, here's the thing. We get people on the show that we want to talk to. If there's something that we want to talk to you about, or there's something going on, you don't have to, someone just said win an event and he'll be on the show. You don't have to win an event to come on Tour Life. We have people all the time. So if there's something that we want to talk about, we'll gladly ask you to come on.
Absolutely. Now, as far as using his stuff to give ourselves likes, and I mean, that's just crazy talk, man.
I feel like we're not clickbaity. I feel like I try to do my best. I'm the one that comes up with the titles for each episode. I think I try to do my best.
Here's the thing. He's referring to the time where I replied to the thing where he replied on. He said it. He responded to our reel.
Mm-hmm.
You pulled it up.
Yeah.
Right after he did it, because we were live. And then I replied to that.
Yeah.
So how are we using his stuff to get likes and shares when he replied to my thing and then I replied to him replying to my reel?
That's a good point. That is a good point.
So I'm sorry, but that doesn't make a lot of sense. The way where I'm sitting, Drew's welcome on the show.
This is now twice that we've been called clout chasers. There comes the balloons. This is now twice we've been called clout chasers. One from Maria Oliva, and now from Drew Gibson.
Yeah, no, this is
we might be clout chasing, Yuli.
It's a podcast where you get where you bring people on the show where they're big time in the news, like with these, like with Gannon and with Eagle. Like that's for you guys. That's not for us personally. We're doing this to get a podcast.
We're just trying to have a good show. We're trying to have a good show.
Good show. I mean, Whatever. On to the next subject.
All right, next. Oh, there's the meme. It just got brought up. I don't know if you saw that, but that's the meme. Go follow us on Tour Life on Twitter and Instagram while you're at it. Why not? All right, Disc Golf Pro Tour World Standings point structure. So I just want to run through this real quickly. I love this idea. I think the way that the world rankings and all that stuff currently is not really set up too great. And so the Disc Golf Pro Tour said, hey, we're going to start our own world standings. So this is how it works. You got the Disc Golf Pro Tour, 16 events are eligible. Disc Golf Pro Tour Plus, 4 events are eligible. Playoffs, 2 events are eligible. And then you've got majors, 3 for the MPO, 4 for the FPO, because the FPO has 5 majors. Or I think they have 5 majors, right? Or 5 that count as majors. They did as last year. Yeah. So points, a win for the Disc Golf Pro Tour is 100 points. Disc Golf Pro Tour Plus, 125. Playoff, 150. Major, 200. And then they give you kind of a breakdown of total possible points available. So basically what this is, they basically just have the Disc Golf Pro Tour standings, and now they've just added in the majors to now come up with the world rankings. And now that there are more events over in Europe, I think this is going to work a lot better, because you would have some guys be super high in the world rankings, but you really didn't know who they were because they would only play in Europe. They never would play in the States. I think this is going to be better for everyone involved. So we'll see how it works out in the first year, but very, very cool. Next thing, they also announced event registration. Look at this, Yuli. If you want to be tier 1 and register for an event now, you have to be 1010 and higher. Gets you into an event for tier 1.
I just saw that for the Champions Cup as well. But
Champions Cup's 1020.
1020. Yeah. I'm actually tier 2 in that because I'm 1019.
Yeah, I checked. I had to check my rating to see when I could sign up. I'm tier 2 as well.
Yeah, so I might not even be playing in that event.
I might not either. Very true. I don't know if there's that many people 1020 and up. I think that number is actually like less than 60 or so. There's not.
But we're gonna have to be ready for the.
Yes, we will have to be ready.
Here's the thing.
Talk to me.
That's ridiculous. That's the silliest thing ever. I get it, but it's silly. It's silly that there's enough players that have played on the Pro Tour. The Pro Tour is the place to be. I don't care what anybody says, the PDGA, whatever you guys want to say. The Pro Tour has the best players, all the stuff. If you are ranked in that on the Pro Tour, it's pretty easy. Those are the best players. Those are the people who should be getting into the tournaments. And as the sport moves forward, it's going to be harder to get on the Pro Tour it's going to be harder to get hopefully in the majors, which I feel like they should switch it to that. And then if there's extra spots, then do whatever you want. I don't know how it is. I still don't think there should ever be a ratings base to get into a tournament. I think there should be qualifiers and not just like, oh, top 5 get in. The top 5 are always going to be in. They're always going to be in because they're going to be 1030 plus for the most part.
Yes.
You get what I mean? So it's a little broken in my opinion.
I agree with you. It doesn't make all that much sense that we're like going online to try to get Taylor Swift tickets, and it's just like who has the fastest internet. That doesn't make too sense. Again, this is an issue that they didn't really have, and I think you bring up a good point. It's going to continue to get worse and worse and worse, right? Yep. You're going to have tons. We do a segment on off season where we have to guess players' division that they play in and players' ratings. And there's been people on there that have been like 10,005, 1010, 1015. And I know players that are in the thousands, but they're playing tournaments that suit their game. They're playing courses that suit their game. There's a massive difference between being a 1,010 rated player at B tiers versus being a 1,010 rated at the Pro Tour, right? The courses are very different.
Yeah.
So I agree. Like the issue is going to only get worse as, now we have 10,000 people that are 1,000 plus or whatever it is, right? And I agree with you. You don't want to have a situation that we saw at Champions Cup last. Yes, exactly. Okay. Shut up, Brodie. Move on. Let's see here. I don't really care about that, so we're going to skip that. Let's jump to Edwin Stats. Hopefully this will be a new segment. Yuli, you already kind of saw this. I saw you send it to me over on Instagram. So Edwin is going to be our stats guy. This guy is a monster, right? One of the things I talked to him about was how I thought the fairway percentage was a broken stat. And he's like, you know what? Let me dive into that. And he did. And so we're going to pull this up. Hopefully this is a segment. If you guys like this segment, definitely let me know in the comments if you're watching this on YouTube. But we're going to call this Edwin Stats. And so what he's doing here is he's doing a deep dive into driving accuracy statistics. So currently right now, how driving accuracy is calculated is if you play a par 3, it's C2 greens in regulation or better. If you play a par 4, it's drive in the fairway or in C2 or better. And then if you play a par 5, both the drive and the second shot are recorded. Same logic as par 4. How it should be calculated. Par 3s should be removed, and we should only look at hitting the fairway on par 4s and par 5s. Once you remove par 3s, some interesting players jump into the top of the list for 2023. So first off, we're going to look at the 2023 average driving accuracy for MPO. The average driving accuracy for MPO, 73%. Top driving accuracy the last 5 years. In 2023, you have Calvin at 80.6. In 2021, you have Paul McBeth at 79.6. In 2023, you have Isaac Robinson at 78.3. At 2023, you have Chris Dickerson at 78. In 2021, you have Calvin again at 77.8. Now, looking at this, last year, I had no idea, Yuli. We played over 50% of the holes we played last year on tour were par 3s. No idea. 41.8% were par 4s and 8% were par 5s. And then also looking at breakdown, the par 3s are the ones that have the lowest fairway percentage. So 62% hit par 3s, 82% hit the par 4s, and then an 84% hit the par 5s. Looking further into this, now we're going to the 2023 top 10. You've got Calvin, Isaac, Chris Dickerson, Aaron Gossage, Ezra Robinson, Andrew Presnell, Kyle Klein, Cole Redolin, Albert Tam, and Simon Lizotte. However, if you go in there and you manually remove all the par 3s, your number one driving accuracy on par 4s and par 5s is actually Andrew Presnell at 87%. Number 2, Chris Clemens at 86.9%. And number 3, who wasn't even in the top 10 list, you have Bradley Williams at 86.4%. So I don't have all the answers on why this is, but I kind of can speculate. I think some of the more aggressive guys, and when you talk about like Calvin Heimberg or Isaac Robinson, those guys are aggressive. They are trying to go for every single shot. Their percentages, when you add in the par 3s, I think definitely go up versus someone like an Andrew Presnell or Chris Clemens. Maybe on some of the par 3s that are the longer ones or whatever, maybe they're not being as aggressive as Calvin and Isaac. So when you look at par 4s and par 5s where it's about placement and putting yourself in position to score, someone like a Presnell does that very, very well.
The best.
Yeah, it's actually... I found this to be very, very interesting. So if you guys like more statistics like this, we're going to have Edwin dive into more stuff too in the future. And really cool to have that resource for us to move forward.
And when you think about Prezi and the way that he drives the disc, that is not something that is surprising to me at all. That guy hits fairways.
And it makes sense too, because on par 3s, you can set up par 3s to be forehand. Like this is a forehand shot. Mm-hmm. It's a lot harder to do that. It's a lot harder to do that on par 4s and 5s. And so if you eliminate that from him, that makes a lot of sense. All right, this week in Foundation Disc Golf, we have the Connor subscription box. I'm not sure how many of these are available. So you'll have to check it out on foundationdisc.com. I was told that people, as they sign up for the subscription box, if they don't re-sign up on that day, a new one can show up. So if it does say sold out right now, tomorrow there might be someone that doesn't renew, and so their spot would open up. So you just kind of have to check every day if you are. So, did everyone hear that, Silas? Or did you just talk to me? He just talked to me. Okay, Silas just said there are 4 available right now. This box is pretty sick. So if you watch Foundation Disc Golf's YouTube channel, one of my favorite series is the Break 86. The video that he ended up breaking the 86, he used the Shaman, and it has his face on it, which I don't know if we have a photo of that we can show to our YouTube viewers. But he also, there it is, but he also used the Passion. He had this Passion in his bag, Yuli, and I was like, you throw this better than any other disc. Like, stop trying to throw these. Yeah. Stop trying to throw these distance drivers that go the same distance. Stop trying to throw this fairway driver. Just change the angle a little bit on this disc and throw this disc. So he has a Break 86 Passion with the big 86 on it, and then he also has a rock. So if you're interested in the Connor subscription box, there you have it. Check out foundationdisc.com. Other than that, shout out to all our new Tour Life crew members. We got a bunch tonight. Appreciate you guys. You guys are the ones that really make this show continue the way it's going. We really appreciate it. All the people in the chat tonight, you guys have been awesome. New merch too. Yuli, hopefully you'll have it next week. But we got the new merch. I'm wearing the Tour Life hoodie with the Tour Life hat, and you guys have been crushing it. Our I have the Yuli Horse shirt underneath too.
Oh yeah.
The Yuli Horse hoodie, #1 seller. So shout out to Tour Life showing up. Really appreciate all the support. Cannot wait to see these on the course. Our weekly battle between Spotify listeners and Apple Podcasts. Spotify is slowly getting closer and closer to 1,000. We are at 895 reviews on Spotify, 244 on Apple. And I don't know, maybe I'll do some sort of one of these things or whatever once we hit 1,000 Spotify reviews. But we got anything else, Yuli, Silas? Did we miss anything? Anything else you guys wanted to? Oh, Captain Raptor. Yes. Is that released tomorrow, Yuli?
Yeah, it is. Yep.
All right. Tell them where they can get it.
Your local retailer. I mean, everybody's advertising them right now. You can get them at the Foundation website for sure.
I think we sold out of the pre-sale, by the way.
Oh, perfect.
But that's awesome.
You can go to discraft.com, go to the team page, and you find those there. But you're also going to be able to go to your local shop, walk in the door tomorrow, and if they still have them, they will be there. So make sure you support all the retailers and online stores. Did a great job of buying those for you guys, and they've been advertising and doing an absolute killer job. We actually sold more this season than last season, which is incredible because this is definitely the market has gone down from last year in almost everything. So I appreciate the support. That means everything to me. And I really like the way they turned out too. I've been throwing them the last couple of weeks when I have been able to get out, and I absolutely love it. It's going in the bag. So go to your local retailer and grab one of those bad boys.
I'm gonna be honest with you, Yuli. I think I'm putting it in the bag as well.
Oh.
I found some runs of Machete last year that I really, really liked, and so I kind of had it in that slot. If you ever feel like you have a hard time getting grip on a disc, I do. For whatever reason, with some plastics, it just doesn't feel like I have that much grip. These things are money. They have it's not the tackiness of where you feel like you can't release the disc, but it has that, I don't know, the soft something with it. I almost want them to run this type of plastic in a bunch of other discs to try out. Yeah, as well. Silas just told me too, we will have 50 of these on the site tomorrow. So foundationdisc.com, 50 of them. There's the promo as well. Pick yourself up a Captain's Raptor. And maybe next week when we go live, we would love to hear in the comments. Let us know what you guys thought about having it out in the course, testing it out, trying it. Maybe we'll do like a first to get an ace.
Ooh,
who can get the first one with get an ace with a captain's raptor.
Cool, and shout out to the team, everybody on the underground, everybody on the actual like pro team as well. I say actual, I don't mean that as a diss. Everybody who went out and filmed the video to help promote that, man, I really appreciate that. That went a long ways.
Yeah, very cool stuff. So shout out to our guests tonight, Eagle and Gannon. That was really cool having them come on and getting to kind of pick their brains a little bit about what made them make the decision to go with a new sponsor this year, how they're looking going into the 2024 season. We've got a couple guys that still haven't made an announcement on what they're doing, so we will keep you guys informed there. But yeah, man, like we're getting real close to the season, getting real excited about going back out and playing some disc golf in tournament conditions.
Yeah.
I've missed it. I've definitely missed it, and eager to get back out there, see all you guys out there, and just keep going back in 2024. I
got my first tournament this weekend.
Ooh.
My foundation's running a little charity event on Saturday. Guess what? 30 degrees.
That's going to be fun. Tomorrow's going to be 18 or 20 degrees here with 20-mile-an-hour winds. Me and Kelsey are going to our first card show tomorrow.
Oh, let's go. That's going to be fun.
Yeah, Dallas apparently is the spot to be. There's like 15 major card shows that happen in like big ones that happen, I guess, in Dallas. So I will be there tomorrow, I think, with Kelsey. Yuli, do you want to go to the National if it makes sense with our schedule? That's like the biggest
National card show.
That's like the big, yeah. I'm guessing that's probably what I just hear people say the National. I think it's in Chicago. I think it's in Chicago or something.
Yeah, if it makes sense.
If it makes sense with our schedule, that would be a fun one to go to. But yeah. All right, that's going to do it for us. Silas, thank you as always for making this work. Shout out to our guests and shout out to you guys, the viewers. We really do appreciate it. If you're listening to us for the first time, you're not subscribed, click the subscribe button. Takes a couple seconds. Drop a like on this video if you enjoyed today's episode, and then also make sure to go and subscribe to Grip Lock's new channel. They are approaching 10,000 subscribers.
Are we getting back on Tuesday next week? Is that the plan?
Silas, Tuesday, how are we feeling?
Tuesday,
right. 8 p.m. right here on Tour Life. We'll see you next time.